12 o'clock.
So I don't have any changes.
Yeah.
When we started, you were waiting on them, everybody came in.
Yeah, okay, nice.
Did ask questions
I don't know if David's
Okay.
coming, so.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I didn't see it in the minutes either. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Smith. Smith. Rep Smith.
Just so that I don't have to in my packet. Thanks. I am usually putting that on, and I got there today, and I looked at the computer, and all my paperwork and all. I had it all up with the owner this morning. It's like, I have a few things on my mind.
I have no idea. It's just right.
We'll get started. Representative McCarthy on the yes off. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to open today early with public comments.
Yes, Red King, Wolfboro. I just wanted to bring a couple of points together. I'm still concerned about the staffing at the nursing home. And I did get a breakdown as of the 1st of February. Currently, we're using 21 agency staff. Staffing needed, they had different shifts, 4, 13, 6, and 2, for a total of 25. So I still think that we need to keep an eye on the agency fees here. I'm sure they'll be asking you for another line item transfer for that, where we only had $1 in the budget before. But also, I'd like to bring to your attention, the commission has had a non-public meeting a couple of weeks ago on February 1st, which I have no idea why they went into non-public for this, but they were discussing the hay and the operation and maybe doing away with the county cutting the hay. But they also had put in that they'd like to open a garage and have the county invest in a lift for the equipment, tire balance, diagnostic tools, specialty tools, and I don't really think that the county should be repairing vehicles, even their own vehicles. And they're also going to ask the delegation to fund another position. If they're going to do away with the hay possibility, I don't know why the commissioners would ask to fund another position if they're going to cut back on it, you know. So I just wanted to bring that to the delegation's attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further public comments?
Yeah, I've got something to say. My name is Kevin Wu, and you know, I know hay. I know how to make hay, I know how to feed hay, I know how to buy hay. I've been doing it for more than half a century. And when I got the answers to my FOIA request, I noticed the price is like $3.50 for mulch. These are like 1980 prices when diesel was 65 cents a gallon. This is just like really, really expensive. I was a little disappointed though, it just says resident cash, non-resident. There are no names attached to any of these sales. I would think if you're buying a publicly grown product on public property, you know, there's no expectation of privacy. You have to hide your name. Who's buying the hay? But there's some non-resident that bought quite a bit of hay. But the hay is way cheaper. It's being sold for way cheaper because I've had to source hay ever since I've been shut off from buying any hay here. And, you know, I've been buying hay since 1996. It's not like I just came. It was 14 years before Will came here in 2009. But I'm just a little confused by the answers. They're not really satisfactory.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any further public comments?
Mr. Conley, I was just wondering how many budget committee budget meetings you think we'll have? Do you think we'll wrap up the budget today, or do you think we'll be done much before the April 1st deadline?
We'll be done way before April 1st deadline.
Great.
I'm hoping that everybody is on board today with our finale of today.
Fantastic, thank you.
You're welcome. Any further public comment?
Can I ask a question
To-
relative to public comment?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. I don't know who to direct this to. I'm wondering where the hay is advertised for purchase, because the last time I saw it posted was a document from 2021, so I'm curious to know how the public finds out where they can get their hay.
We will send that up over to the commissioners.
Okay?
Thank you. Do we have any further public comments?
Christina Bertogli. I'm on the board of directors from the Bear Camp Valley School and Children's Center. And just wanting to follow up, I know that our director has sent out information packets to the delegates, and Representative Page had sent an email asking for more information, and we did answer. And just wanted to reiterate that we provide care to children not just in Tamworth, but in the surrounding communities. And we're still struggling from getting through the whole COVID process, even though we had sustainability in the past. We're working on keeping that going. So the board of directors is working on fundraising, and we did quite a bit last year, but we're still not reaching our goal at this point. So we have full and half-day programs for 18 months through 5 years old. We're one of 3 nonprofit care centers in Carroll County, and the other are the center in Wolfboro, the Children's Center, and Children's Unlimited in Conway. And so even though we are a smaller one, we're still important for the families that we provide care to that work in the county and would not have a job if they didn't have child care. And we know that there is a shortage in centers for the kids to get in. I don't know what else to say other than we appreciated the support we had in the past, and we just need a little more support till we can get things totally running the way everyone should be. And we hope that you reconsider the an appropriation, a grant to us for some monies to keep our early childhood program going.
Thank you. Any further public comment?
Hi there, I'm Elizabeth Kelly Scott. I'm the Executive Director of the Child Advocacy Center of Carroll County. I did have a chance to address it all briefly at your December meeting, so I won't belabor the point too much, but we do receive some funding through regional appropriations from the county. We did request $70,000 from the county this year. The commissioner sent it back to you at level funding at $55,000. We do serve the entire county and all the police departments and all the towns throughout the county. And we do save the county a lot of money by ensuring that, not all of those police departments have to have an expert level forensic interviewer on staff. And essentially, having a child advocacy center in your community saves, on average, about $1,400 for every case that is worked through a child advocacy center. We serve about 120 kids and their families each year. So asking for that $70,000 would be a huge help to us. That helps us provide services to all those kids in both of our offices. We operate an office in Wolfboro of a building that was donated to us, and we also rent space and operate an office in northern Carroll County in Conway to kind of help provide a geographically convenient location to all of our families here in Carroll County. We do receive some federal funding that has come into our local community here, but that federal funding has been cut pretty dramatically this year, which is, why that extra $15,000 from the county would be really essential for us this year to continue our program. So I would ask for your consideration on that. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Any further public comment?
May I ask a question? Sure. I just wanted to know, is it true that you serve about 100 children per year that have been sexually assaulted?
Well, we also aid in cases of physical abuse or severe neglect.
So 100 cases of abuse of some kind?
Yeah.
Including sexual?
Alleged maltreatment. Sure.
Maltreatment, okay.
Yeah, so investigations.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Seeing none?
Mr. Chairman, we'll need a roll call. We have a member on the Zoom, representative.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Clerk? Will you do an attendance call?
Sure. Call for attendance. Cordelli?
Yes.
McConkey, yes. Smith?
Present.
Belcher?
Present.
Brown?
Here.
Constable?
Here.
Crawford?
Here.
McDonald?
Here.
Petnell?
Here.
Bucco?
Present.
Woodcock?
Here.
Burrows?
Here.
McAleer?
Here.
Page?
Here.
Mr. Chairman,
Present.
we are at a full complement with one person remote being Page.
Beautiful, thank you. Everybody was sent out in your last meeting's packet and this meeting's packet the changes to the current MVC employee contract. We need a motion for approval.
You need a motion, so we said. I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Representative Brown. Do we have a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative Smith. Any discussion? Mr. Clerk?
And Mr. Chairman, Cordelli?
Yes.
McConkey, yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
Yes.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Petnell?
Yes.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, yes. 15.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. All right. Madam CFO, are these all the new numbers in this new packet and the changes that we made on our last meeting with the executive committee?
Yes, they are.
And all the end of year actual numbers for 23?
As of today, yes.
Thank you. Representative Cordell.
Thank you. I just, with the proposed expense budget, I didn't see a grand total.
On the summary page, there should be.
On page 12, at the end of the expense budget, after Mountain View, usually
Oh.
have total Mountain View and then grand total.
Okay, but it is on page 1. Page 1.
Who is not muted on Zoom?
Page 1, this is highlighted in green, the second line from the bottom.
Thank you.
Do you not have it?
C39, A35.
Should be page 1. No, that's not page 1. Right here, page 1. Right there.
One with the colors on it?
That's the expense.
This
Yeah.
one with the colors?
Okay.
This is total revenue.
Okay.
Total
okay.
expenses.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I was looking for it on, yeah.
Is there one? I'll use my phone.
Do we have the people from Hale's location here? On Zoom? No? I'd like to go out of order to give the CFO some time to adjust some numbers.
Can I ask a question on the way it's done?
Sure.
So I'm sorry, and I should have asked this before I voted, it was dumb. But on the employees, when it says remove the physical therapy aide, the hairdresser, and assistant director of nursing, does that mean they're no longer going to be people doing those functions, or that they're just not part of this agreement?
These were the changes that were given to us.
No, I understand that, but does it mean that they're no longer going to be these positions?
That would be correct from what they've negotiated, yeah.
So they're no longer going to be assistant director of nursing?
Correct.
Then I make a motion to reconsider having voted on the prevailing side.
Sure. Do you have a second?
Second.
Mr. Clark?
Motion is to reconsider, and I missed the rest of the motion.
Reconsider the union contract.
Okay. Motion is to reconsider the union contract. If you're in favor of reconsideration, you will vote yes or aye. If you're opposed, nay or no. Question by
Mr. Chairman, is there any discussion in regard to this? Reconsideration motion, typically there isn't much.
Can I, though? Is it okay if I say something?
Sure.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm just, these seem like important roles, a physical therapy aide, and while a hairdresser may seem frivolous, I don't think it is to people who can't cut their own hair, and assistant director of nursing would seem to be a pretty critical function. So that's what I have to say.
Okay.
motion is to reconsider.
Any further discussion? Mr. Clark? There's a motion
Can I
to
ask a quick question, Mr. Chairman?
Representative Page.
So are I'm very familiar with the Assistant Director of Nursing. The other positions, have these positions already been eliminated? Or are these planned eliminations, just for a point of clarity?
Through you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, a couple things on the position. So the assistant director position was eliminated, I believe, last year. We have a director of quality position that we've added. The PTA, the physical therapy assistant, shouldn't have been in the budget in the first place. We contract our PT, physical occupational speech therapy, through a company, and the hairdresser is still on board, but they just rearrange how that person's going to be paid. They're not going to be an employee of ours. So.
And why, but...
Follow-up?
Follow-up, thank you. So I see the quality, you have a quality person. What, was the assistant director of nursing involved in quality, or what were their functions?
She had a wide array of functions. So I can speak directly on director of quality, if
Yeah.
you only get 3 months. Director of quality is going to be looking at all departments. So everything from nursing to housekeeping to dietary, and see areas that need to improve, and then put things in place to improve that, whether that's through education, quality assurance, things like that. So.
But follow-up, that didn't answer the question about what the assistant director of nursing was charged with.
As I said before, I've only been there 3 months.
No, I understand.
I've been in business for a long time. Every assistant, I think her role was more of a staff development role. But again, every assistant director I've ever had has done different things.
You have a question, Representative Cordelli?
Yes, thank you. The quality position, quality control position you mentioned, is that common in nursing homes?
It is becoming more common because in order, they're looking at almost a quality initiative. So if you provide certain quality, they're going to pay you at a higher rate. So that's something that CMS is looking to do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Mr. Clerk, call the roll for reconsideration of the employee contract.
Motion to reconsider employee contract. Cordelli?
No.
McConkey, no. Smith?
No.
Belcher?
No.
Brown?
No.
Constable?
No.
Crawford?
No.
McDonald?
No.
Petnell?
No.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
No. Motion fails. We're moving on
10 to
to...
5.
Yeah, 10 to 5. We're moving on to a little out of order, so we have time for the CFO to make adjustments for the Hales location budget. Everybody has gotten that, has been noticed properly. Do we have anybody from Hales location to speak on this budget? Or do the commissioners want to speak to this budget? Or the CFO?
Go ahead.
Or the treasurer? Good to see you, Mr. Costello.
Yes, sir. I believe you have before you the comparison for 23, the actual for 23 and the proposed for 24. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do we have any questions?
You want to go over real, just give us an overview and then maybe
Yep.
we will.
The biggest thing is in 24 is a figure for $8,625 for elections. This is an election year. Also note that things like the administrative salary was in 23, 13,600. The proposed shows 7,750. The reason for that is we have been advised by the state that we have to do a separate proposed school budget. So half of the administrative salaries are in the proposed school budget, which I believe you also have a copy of. There was an increase of roughly $11,600 in tuition in the proposed 24 budget.
Can we just do the general government one first, then we'll go to the school one?
I'm sorry?
Can we just do the general government one and then we'll do the school one?
Okay, I'm sorry, yep.
Okay.
General government total is $47,765, which is up about, not quite $2,000 from last year. The contracts are about the same. They are the same, in fact. And so the total proposed 2024 budget is $168,765, which is up about not quite $1,000 from last year.
CFO.
There was in your copy, you must have an old copy, the total is 169,265.
Yeah, the one that says 168.
Yeah, there's an addition error in there.
We have 169,
265.
265 at the bottom. Everyone? Thank you. Any questions on the general government appropriations for the Hales budget, Hales location?
Chair,
Representative Woodcock.
thank you. Just a date question. When is the actual date of this figures? When is the closing budget? You have, as of, I guess, recently, 1/11, how many more months are this, is at the end of it?
So, I'd ask Bonnie on that.
The calendar, general government for Hales is calendar year.
Yes.
The school budget runs from July to June.
Okay, so the
Sure, follow?
So so the actual the actual 111 was, that's done. This is the terminal figure.
I don't know, I can't answer that, Joe.
Where's the 111 number? I don't see it.
Just the middle column that's giving actuals, he just wants to know what that is as of, it's as of December, not,
I think that says through September,
okay,
because it says through September.
okay.
It doesn't say through September on my sheet, it just says 2023 actual, so is that the end of year?
My sheet says
Mr.
September.
Chair, I'm trying to find what that date is.
Can I
And
see
so
your
I
sheet?
completely agree.
Hold on. I would say it's through the end of the year. They're considerably different from that. Yeah. I don't know for a fact, I'm only guessing based on the numbers.
Chairman, I just texted the assistant at Carroll, so asking her if it's December 31st.
Thank you. We'll hold on to that for a second till we get the date. Any further questions on that other than dating? Mr. Treasurer, take us through the school budget.
Yes, sir. The tuition went down from 120,000 in '23 to 92,780 in '24. The grand total with the administrations is 105,967. We have 2 students at Freiburg Academy and 2 new students in Conway.
Thank you. So the final budget for total operating budget for appropriations for the school is 105,967.
Correct.
Any questions for the treasurer on the school appropriation budget of Carroll? Representative Bucco.
Can you direct me to the document that you're referring to?
MS 26.
Oh, that's the MS? Okay. I have 2 sets of documents. Going on.
It's on page 3.
Everybody all set on where this is? Mr. Treasurer, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
If it's not listed in the general government as an expense, how is it collected?
The school budget, you mean?
Correct. It needs to-
Yeah, it goes on their tax bill, it's a separate item.
The separate line item for their
Yes.
thing, so it doesn't come through the county to be
No.
paid?
No.
Who collects it?
The administrative assistant collects it.
All right, well, let's stand a motion to approve the school budget, MS 26, 2024, for Hales location.
So moved, McConkey.
Thank you, Representative McConkey. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Representative Crawford. Any further discussion?
I have a question.
Representative Bucco.
How come that number doesn't go onto this proposed total budget? It is a contract, just like the ambulance contract.
Treasurer?
Yeah, we have been advised that the school budget has to be done as a separate item, and it's not listed as part of the budget for the town. In other words, the state has told us we have to separate them, break them apart.
So it only,
Follow, sure.
it only gets printed, it only gets noted here on the, in the MS document?
Where is it noted on the MS document? I'm sorry, I don't have that in front of me.
Page 3 at the bottom, it says 105. Isn't that what we're looking at?
That is the appropriation for the school budget only.
Right.
That's why it shows it as a separate item. It's not included in the total budget.
Okay. Well, that was my question. Thank you.
Well, Representative Belcher.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Not supremely familiar with the way these are kept, so I'm just looking at the last page of the revenues. And it says actual revenues for 6/30/2023 at $141,000 versus estimated revenues for 6/30/25, $105,000. I'm just curious as to why the estimated revenues are lower compared to what they actually were. Is it a rate set difference, or?
Is it one less child in school?
I think so, yes.
I think it went from 5 to 4?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Any further questions? On the MS-26, Mr. Clark?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion by McConkey, seconded by Crawford. Hales location, school appropriation, proposed budget 105,967. If you're in favor of that motion, you'll signify by saying aye or yes. If you're opposed, nay or no. With that, Cordelli.
Yes.
McConkey, yes. Smith.
Yes.
Belcher.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Constable. Crawford.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Petnell.
Yes.
Bucco.
Yes.
Woodcock.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
McAleer.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Passes unanimously, 15-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Did we get final,
12/31.
these are the final numbers?
Yes, and the actual column is 12/31/23.
Representative Woodcock is the end-of-year numbers.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. Any further questions on the general appropriations for Hales for 2024? Do we have a motion?
I don't think we got that.
Can we have a motion to approve?
Motion by McConkey.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Representative Brown, thank you. Any further questions or discussion? Mr. Clark?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion by McConkey, seconded by Brown. Hales location, proposed budget I have is 169,265. If you are in favor of that motion, you'll signify by saying aye or yes. If you're opposed, nay or no. With that, Cordelli.
Yes.
McConkey, yes. Smith.
Yes.
Belcher.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Constable.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Petnell.
Yes.
Bucco.
Yes.
Woodcock.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
McAleer.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously, 15-0.
That should be a reminder to everyone.
Thank you, John.
The executive committee met a couple weeks ago, and we went through the budget, made some recommendations to the full delegation. You sent out the minutes, the new budget, and our adjustments were within the minutes. Any questions on that? Representative Cordelli.
Just a comment in that I believe the reduction proposed by the executive committee is $295,068.
Shoot, I just changed those numbers. I believe it was 330,000 and change.
Yeah.
I can undo what I just changed and give you an exact number. Oh, wait a minute. Can do better than that. It was $330,068.
So I want to thank the delegation for giving the executive committee the approval to go through the budget, streamline, and head off some of the discussion to make our meetings a little less, this meeting a little lighter, given the fact that we have a very large state calendar for all of you. Representative Bucco, any comments on what the work we did at our executive committee meeting?
No, not on
There's still a couple of items that we need to do today.
Yeah, this is everything that we went over at our meeting.
Thank you.
Representative McDonald.
Are the changes that you made reflected in the documents we received today?
And the new ones, yes. Minus everything we're going to be going over today. Representative Burrows.
Okay, you may be going, I'm trying to find the correspondence. Are you going to be going over, it was in the summary that the recommendation, I think, was to take half of the increase in revenue and put it into another fund rather, do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm talking about the surplus we got
Yeah.
to maybe pay something off?
Yeah.
I haven't got an okay from the commissioners yet on doing that.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
But I think it would definitely make, no.
No.
Okay. The answer is no on that. Thank you very much.
I will give a reason when you get to that if you'd like.
I would love to. Representative Cordelli.
No, I'll wait until that discussion comes up.
We can have it now.
Okay. And I'm not sure what part of your packet it is, but I did a spreadsheet on follow-up delegation requests. So what I did was I went through each one of our debts and took what the outstanding balance was and the interest rates. Our interest rates range from 2.69% to 5.1% on the debt. And currently, we're earning 5.43% in our cash accounts. So it does not necessarily make sense to pay off debt at a lower interest rate when we're earning a higher interest rate than that.
Sounds great to me. As long as we are net plus, I am happy.
And with that, I will segue into that I will suggest an increase in the interest income budget line item.
Oh, more revenue.
More revenue, yes.
My favorite. All right, motion to approve
Mr.
the,
Chair?
Representative Burrows.
Okay, just since we're on that topic, does it make sense to take some of that surplus and then maybe even be a bigger surplus towards nurses' raises and to cut down on agency staff?
There is, we are not allowed to do that outside of the contract negotiations. It would, we did that a couple years ago with the dispatchers. There was a mid-year problem, and then they were within their contract year, and it would have caused a problem.
Okay, got it.
Yep. I can go into it deeper if you want, but.
That's deep enough.
All right.
Is the motion to approve the executive committee's recommendation?
It is. That is the motion I am looking for, to approve the committee, executive committee recommendations to the full delegation.
I just have a question.
Representative McDonald.
The things that there's some people there from regional appropriations. I don't know if they're aware of any changes that are contained within those minutes.
Finish up.
Sorry.
No, finish up.
We'd be able to discuss those, let them know what the.
Yes, we did not discuss those. We left them for the full delegation.
Okay, thank
All
you
of
so
them,
much.
everything you see on your agenda is going to be discussed and passed by the full delegation.
Great, thank you so much.
We went through the nursing home, we went through the commissioners who went through registry deeds we did, county attorney. I mean, we went through a lot of the departments that we don't really have a lot of discussion on usually, just trying to get them out of the way.
Thank you.
And I think we did the jail as well. So, motion, Representative Burrows.
On the nursing home, just want to understand the agency staff line. Again, looks like we did 1.8 million, and I see that, looks like we're not, am I correct in saying that there's not any request to fund that for '24?
There was $1 in it. It was my intention is to have the executive committee review all those transfers and ask the appropriate questions when those transfers came in.
Okay,
we
so
would
we're
have
not
to
going to,
overview.
what does that,
We're not going to blanket fund it $2 million and then not have any way to monitor what's
So you're
going
saying that's on hold for now?
on.
No.
The transfers that just come to the executive committee, we can ask questions when those transfers come.
Okay, but I just, in terms of the budget, if I vote yes on this budget, how does it impact, I not clear how it impacts that line for agency staff going forward. I guess there was a statement that we weren't gonna have agency staff, but I'm not clear on how we're gonna get there.
Oh, no, we're gonna have agency staff.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep.
So can you explain how that's gonna get funded?
Transfers,
Through transfers?
through
Okay.
transfers, that way we have oversight of how much we're transferring.
Okay, got it.
Yep,
Thanks.
you're welcome.
Question?
Representative Woodcock.
So those transfers that you're talking about, Representative, will come from through Mountain View into Mountain View?
Correct.
They're gonna come from other departments?
Nope.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Representative Cordelli.
Yeah, it's my understanding those positions are in the budget, so transfers would be from salary lines to agency as needed.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I just had a process question.
Certainly.
I think the motion is to approve the executive committee's recommendations. Is that what it is? On the sheet from the CFO, there are 4 changes to be made to commissioners, treasurer, capital, and MVC's budget. It's on this. I'm not sure how you want to. This sheet I handed out this morning, the highlighted one.
That is the,
You have it?
that is for passing the Hales location budget, right?
2 of the items are, but then we also just have a no dollar change, but a transfer between line items for the nursing home and in addition to capital for the road repairs that are being covered 75% by FEMA.
Okay.
And if I could, the executive committee approved 243071 for the commissioners, and the CFO is asking that to change to 249532.
So I like keeping early on this budget. Alrighty.
Very slight change, but
CFO, where were the changes in the commissioner's budget?
In the salary line and the payroll taxes,
009?
009 is now 40,373. And 010 is 7,930.
What is the change in the salaries for the
This-
commissioners for $6,000?
The Hales stipends, so it all is run through payroll, yes, $6,000, 2,000 each.
Correct, but it's $3,000 on the budget for 2024.
Because half is in general government and half is in the school budget.
That's why you do what you do. Representative Brown.
Can you explain to me on this sheet where we show the commissioners' salaries that 2 of the commissioners are at 14,000, 1 of the commissioners is 11,500? I don't know.
We're not discussing that yet.
Oh, okay, thank you.
We are discussing the budget expense for the commissioners to include the adjustments for Hales location that we just adopted. And what is the other line you need adjusted?
Social Security is now, which is 010, is now 7,930, and that's just the Social Security tax on the increased wages.
Thank you. Any further adjustments?
No,
Medical, retirement, workman's comp, unemployment,
no,
Medicare.
no, we're good. I included that all in the Social Security line, because it was very minimal.
New bottom line?
249,531.82.
Could I have that again, please?
249,531.82.
Motion to approve the commissioner's budget at 248,531.82.
Is it 248 or 249?
249. My apologies.
Thank you.
So moved.
I will move that motion. Motion by McConkey.
Representative Cordelli moved.
Cordelli, okay.
Representative Bucco.
Can you direct me to where that number is on the...
That is on page 2 of the new packet, middle column, 4130 is the department number. The adjustment is to 009 and 010.
Sorry,
That's okay.
I'm working off a different sheet the whole time. It's not the same number that you're calling out.
Can I see us?
No, Any further discussion on the 249531 number for the commissioners for the adjustments in the Hales location budget? Any further discussion on the commissioners' new adjustments? Motion to approve has been made and seconded. Mr. Clerk?
Yep, motion by Cordelli, seconded by McConkey. The number is 249531.82. Executive Committee recommendation to the full delegation.
Nope. We're voting on the commissioner's budget right now.
Okay, Commissioner's budget. If you're in favor of the Commissioner's budget, you'll signify by saying aye or yes. If you're opposed, nay or no. Cordelli?
Yes.
McConkey, yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
Yes.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Pednell?
Yes.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
No.
Cox, no. Burrows?
No.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes 13-2.
Thank you. Treasurers, next. The adjustment. There's an adjustment for the Hales location as well.
Correct. 009 will now be 9,400. 010 will now be 650.
Even?
Yes.
Thank you.
New total is $12,297.56.
12297.56.
Correct.
Page, please, Representative. Page.
You are on the next page, right across from where
Page
you
3,
are.
right in the middle.
Thank you.
You're welcome. 12297.
.56.
Any discussion? Mr. Clark?
Motion was by,
Oh,
motion by Cordelli,
seconded by McConkey. Sounds great.
If you're in favor of the motion, this is on the treasurer.
Yes.
12297.56, signify by saying aye or yes. If you're opposed, nay or no. Cordelli?
Yes.
McConkey's yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
Yes.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Pednell?
Yes.
Bucco?
Yeah, yes.
Woodcock?
No.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Motion carries 14-1.
Next up. $4901, capital addition to road repair.
Correct. $8,750, which is the county's 25% portion
That's a lot of money.
of total expenditure.
Do you have the page number?
Page, please, Mr. Chairman.
looks like page 8 and 9. At the bottom of 8, top at 9. Can you say that number again?
$8,750.
8750.
Correct.
Total new bottom line, because I think we made adjustments to that.
362,864 even. 362,864.
362,864 with the new adjustment for capital expenditures. Any discussion?
Is the motion on the road repair for 8750?
Correct. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion by McConkey, seconded by
Cordelli.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Any discussion?
Repeat the number, please.
8750. With the new bottom line of 362,864.
864, is that what you said? Okay.
You got both of those?
I got 875.
And then the new bottom line for 362,864.
That be separate motion?
Nope.
Shall I give me that number?
362,864.
362,864. That'd be the number we're going to call?
That's the number we're calling.
Okay. And that's capital additions.
That's capital.
We're no longer road repair.
It's part of the capital expenditures in 4901.
Motion to approve capital expenditures 4901, new number 362,864. Motion by McConkey, seconded by Cordelli. If you're in favor of the motion, you'll signify by saying aye or yes. If you're opposed, nay or no. With that, Cordelli.
Yes.
McConkey, yes. Smith.
Yes.
Belcher.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Constable.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Pettinel.
Yes.
Bucco.
Yes.
Woodcock.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
McAleer.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
motion carries unanimous, 15-0.
Thank you. Next. $4411 in the Mountain View.
So the nursing home administrator would like to, this is a $0 change. It's just moving $10,000 from education to a new line, retention and recognition.
What's the line number?
It will be 441.027 will be the new number.
Thank you. In between auditing and legal.
Yes.
Is this an interdepartmental move?
It's between nursing and admin, yes.
Do we have those adjusted numbers for each segment?
Well, we can. So admin will now be $3,489,191.70.
Motion to approve the.
Question, please?
Representative Woodcock.
Thank you, Chair. In the, Bonnie, the nursing the transfer, the $10,000, which part of the nursing is it coming out of?
Education,
Thank you.
And which line administration is it going to, the 10,000?
It's going to be a new line, 027, it's going to be in between
Okay.
auditing and legal and fees and services.
Just a follow-up.
Please.
So that nursing, that's the 017 line,
yes,
that's going down 10,000?
correct.
Thank you.
Motion to approve 3489191.70 for the new administration part of the Mountain View Community Budget.
Motion approved, McConkey.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Smith. Any further discussion?
Just to be clear, Department 4410, Mountain View Administration, in the amount of $3,489,191.79.
Correct. That request, that signifies a $10,000 increase for the request.
All right. If you are in favor of the motion, you'll signify by saying yes or aye. If you're opposed, nay or no. Cordelli?
Yes.
McConkey, yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
Yes.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald? Bednell?
Yes.
Pucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
the band is still together, 15-0 unanimous.
Perfect. Stick with me a little longer. 4413, we're reducing number 017 by 10,000 to,
$7,926,016.75.
If I could again, please,
79.
$7,926,016.75.
And that will show a reduction in line 017 for $10,000. That was just moved over to,
Correct. Moved over to 027.
yes, so that'll be 46,850.
Correct.
That'll signify, that will show in our motion as well.
I'm sorry?
That we're moving the 10,000 out and lowering that line. We'll do it in subsequent motions. We'll do that motion together. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion by McConkey.
Seconded by
Second.
Representative Belcher.
Question, so you're talking specifically that line?
With that line, and then we have to readjust that the total number.
Thank you.
Welcome. Any further questions or discussion?
Could you explain the motion, please, Mr.
Certainly, we are removing $10,000 out of that line that we just transferred into 4111. We have to lower that overall number as well, so it'll be 4926016.75.
Ready for call?
Please.
If you're in favor of the motion, yes or aye. Opposed, nay or no. Cordelli?
Yes.
McConkey, yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
Yes.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Bednell?
Yes.
Pucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
motion carries 15-0.
Thank you. Next, CFO?
That was it.
We don't have, okay. No more further expenditure changes.
No, not on what the executive committee, unless you want to address the interest income now, because that was an outstanding question.
Let's do the expenditures and then we'll roll into the revenues.
Okay.
Thank you for your indulgence. Motion to approve the executive committee's recommendations that do not apply, that apply to what we did not adjust. I think that's the correct motion.
I will make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Representative Cordelli, any discussion?
Yeah, could you explain the motion? I'm confused at this end of the room.
Seeing as we made some adjustments to the nursing home budget and the commissioner's budget, we cannot adopt the, and the treasurer's budget, we cannot adopt the full executive committee recommendations. So outside of those three things that we just did, the rest of the executive committee recommendations will stand. Sure.
So is this the time, before we vote on that, that I have another question about Mountain View, or do I save that one?
You can say that one for a minute, because we adjusted their
Okay,
budget, we're
got
gonna
it.
take a full vote
Okay,
on that.
got it.
Any further discussion?
Just a question, Mr. Chair.
Certainly, Representative Woodcock.
Clarity, since I'm
Yep.
totally confused. We're looking at the blue, highlighted blue, those are the ones we talked about, Representative?
Correct.
Okay, thanks for my question. Thank you.
Yep. And we adjusted some of the other blues, which is why we've already taken up those, that will take up the rest of the executive.
Thank you, Governor.
Thank you. Mr. Clark, call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion by McConkey, second by Cordelli. If you're in favor of that motion, signify by aye or yes. If you are not, nay or no. Cordelli.
Yes.
McConkey, yes. Smith.
Yes.
Belcher.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Constable.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Petnell.
Yes.
Bucco.
Yes.
Woodcock.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
McAleer.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
motion carries 15-0.
Thank you. Motion to approve the adjustments in the Mountain View.
Commissioners and treasurers. No, we already did that.
We did the commissioners.
That's right, yeah.
Motion to approve. We didn't make any adjustments to the nursing home budget, right? Motion to approve the nursing home budget at 1802526.68.
I'll make that motion.
Representative Smith, do we have a second?
Second.
Representative Belcher, discussion. Representative Burrows.
So I can ask it now? Okay, so can you tell me what number the RNs is on in Mountain View? Not the LPNs, but the nurses' salaries. Not the LNAs, I'm sorry.
You want to know where the LNAs are?
Oh, all right.
RN,
Well, in .006 is nursing secretary, LNA, MNA is .007, and charge supervisors are in 008.
so it's 007 and 008?
Correct.
Okay.
Follow-up?
Thinking. Yeah, I guess I do have a question. For the RNs, what is their hourly, and are we paying enough so that we can reduce the agency staff?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. That was addressed, we looked at some RNs. That was addressed when we looked at everyone's total salary. Linda, the HR person, did a salary survey throughout the counties and also the facilities. So we're competitive when it comes to RNs.
My understanding is that, follow-up, I'm so sorry. But the state average for RNs is $90,000 a year. Is that where we're at?
We are close to that. We don't have a ton of RNs, so yes, we're in the ballpark for that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. 1802526.68. Any further discussion? Mr. Clark?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion to approve the Mount View nursing home budget, number published 1802526.68. Motion made by Smith, seconded by Belcher. If you're in favor of the motion, you'll signify by saying aye or yes, and if you're opposed, nay or no. Cordelli.
Yes.
McConkey, yes. Smith.
Yes.
Belcher.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Constable.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
McDonald. Petnell.
Yes.
Bucco.
Yes.
Woodcock.
Yes.
Burrow.
Yes.
McAleer.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
Motion carries unanimous, 15-0.
thank you.
Hold on, Mountain View, if I might,
Say it again?
a comment while we're on Mountain View.
Certainly, Representative Cordali.
Thank you. I would just like to point out something we talked about at the executive committee last time, and we have a sheet in our packet looking at the percentage occupied beds, and we have the highest percentage of occupied beds in the state at 99%. And I would point out that there are 5 counties with an occupancy rate in the 60 or 70% level. Yes.
Question, Mr. Chair?
Representative Woodcock.
Thank you. Just to follow up to Representative Cordali's comments, can we get an idea of how many actual beds we have open? And if there's a waiting list?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. As of today, at this moment, we actually had 2 residents pass, greater census of 100 out of 103. We have someone coming in tomorrow, so we'll bring us back up to 101. We do have a waiting list, and as I think I talked to the executive committee, we're still scrubbing through that waiting list because it's a very fluid thing. So we do have a waiting list. If I had to guess, probably between 5 and 6 people on it.
Thank you.
But their needs change every day.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome, Representative Woodcock. Very good question. CFO, we're looking at revenue. Where do we need to make an adjustment?
I would like to change 10,000 that's in for interest income to 120,000.
Do you want to just identify that line?
Yep, 100,3502.061. It's second or third line up from the total county budget, general fund budget.
Interest income? Is that where we are?
Yes,
Bottom of page 1?
yep.
For everyone? You want to make an adjustment of?
I want to increase it by 110,000 to 120,000 from 10.
You can the number?
120,000.
12000.00.
Correct.
There's 6 numbers in that. 120. It was coming in one side, not coming out the other side correctly.
That's a big jump.
And would you like to speak to that change?
Sure. So we have redone our bank accounts. We looked at the New Hampshire investment pool. And we reached out to Bank of New Hampshire where we have all of our funds. And they created a program that matches on a weekly basis the interest rates given by the New Hampshire index funds investment pool. And it's a much safer vehicle. So it took them so long to get the program up and running because we were the first ones to utilize it, that they gave us retro interest back to May of '23. And based on our cash balance now and moving into the rest of the year, I think that that's a conservative number.
They gave us additional.
Representative Brown. Thanks. Could you clarify, you indicated that it's a safer method. It sounded like it was an adjustable rate. So how is that a safer method for the county?
So the other alternative that we would have for the county would be the New Hampshire investment pool. The Bank of New Hampshire is matching their interest rate, the New Hampshire investment pool. I had this discussion last spring, and I know there were very good reasons as to why the bank was in a better place than the investment pool, but that there wasn't as much continuity in the investment pool. You didn't necessarily know how they were investing their money, and the Bank of New Hampshire is willing to match that, so it's protected, we have it collateralized, and it's the same interest rate.
Collateralized, that's the important part.
Okay. I'll talk to you offline.
Okay.
Just to make sure I understand that.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So is it under contract for a certain period of time, or is it
There is no end date now.
So if the state rate fluctuates, this rate would fluctuate as well?
We get our interest reassessed every week on Mondays, yes. And it's exact.
So this is more like a, I hate to say, a governmental money market account.
It's collateralized by governmental funds, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Treasurer Casella.
I just wanted to emphasize the term collateralized. These funds that we have on deposit with the bank are secured by government securities. So you hear about something called FDIC insurance up to $250,000, I think it is, or whatever. All of our dollars are collateralized with government securities. In other words, the bank has pledged those securities to protect our funds.
Wow.
Wow.
The rating just went down.
Exactly.
Fitch went from AAA to AA plus.
So the collateralized portion of it is the actual tax dollars that we have in-house, or is this on funds that are revolving through?
There's several accounts, so part of it is our tax funds, part of it is our ARPA money, part of it is our grant money. So we have several different funds. They're all in this pool and earning interest.
I look forward to that report. Do we get monthly bank statements on that, or do we get a weekly paying from the bank saying this is where we are this week, or?
We actually get a daily printout, which we don't keep because it's a lot of paper, but yes, on our monthly bank statements, we get monthly interest as part of our reconciliation.
Standing, about time.
It's an excellent deal for the county, if I may say.
And the taxpayers, it sounds like.
Yes.
So give me the new bottom line of the,
Do you,
I'll read. No. Yeah, motion to approve the interest income of $120,000. Increase to $120,000. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Representative Woodcock, Representative Cordelli. Any discussion? Mr. Clark.
Thank you. Motion by Woodcock, seconded by Cordelli, $120,000 increase. Cordelli.
Yes.
McConkey, yes. Smith.
Yes.
Belcher.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Constable.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Petnell.
Yes.
Bucco.
Yes.
Woodcock.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
McAleer.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
motion carries 15-0.
Anybody else? Anything else?
nope, that's it for me.
Beautiful. Back to expenditures, regional appropriations for,
Do you want to do the cooperative pension first?
please. $313,627.
UNH.
UNH?
Pension.
Yes.
You want to come up and do a quick, I don't think you were here last time, if you want to do a quick, couple minutes on what the request was for, and go over that.
So I'm Paul Carroll. Thank you very much. I'm here to represent some of our staff in Carroll County, and Chief Joy Gagnon, one of our educators. So yes, you'll notice that the increase does mark about 6% from last year. That includes about 2.5% of general budget increase for us out of expenditures for the year. I believe, I'll verify this, but we did not ask for increase last year. So as things have gotten more expensive to do business in the county, we're asking for that 2.5% increase. We also have increased to our rent. The other portion of that increase comes in expanding the role of one of our educators, Joy Gagnon, and that goes beyond just Joy as an individual, but also just being able to meet the needs of the county. And I'll turn it to Joy just to speak about the way her position's funded, and then to speak about what that additional funding, about $9,800, would do for Joy and her ability to help support Carroll County. I do, yes. I can also hand this to you if I may. Yeah,
So
So my role in Extension currently is funded by SNAP Ed and FNEP, which are 2 federal grants, and they limit my work to nutrition for low-income people in the county. And that means I teach nutrition in the classrooms, in the community, at food pantries, different places, but it limits it to that nutrition for low-income individuals. And we've just changed into a health and well-being team where we're focusing on other things that wrap around what health really is. And one issue is social determinants of health, which just shows that your situation in your life affects your overall health, not just nutrition. It could be where you live, it could be access to food, aging in place, all different things. So we are asking for a little bit more money this year so that it can fund my work outside of that low-income nutrition base. So on the thing that we gave you, it just gives a little write-up about what my work is and how this money would work to improve the health of Carroll County residents overall.
Thank you. Questions on the increase in the position? So is there an increase in the number of hours related to this?
It would be a percent of my time that I would designate to it. So it would be the amount of money that we're asking for would give me about 4.5 hours a week more that I'd be able to do focusing on this.
Just to clarify, and actually I asked a question myself, so currently you're entirely federally funded?
Yes.
As of now,
There is
right?
no county funding that pays for my work.
Right, and so because of that, it limits what Joy's able to do, as you just mentioned, just to reiterate, limits what her focus of her work can be based on the parameters of the federal grants that fund her work, which might mean that someone who is deemed low income by the federal guidelines, that's not to say someone who makes just slightly over that is not also struggling, who could not also benefit from resources and that support that Joy presents in the county. It also allows Joy some free time to, some free up some of her time, to be able to work with community leaders and partners to identify those needs and programming that can best support your residents here in Carroll County when it comes to health and well-being. Some of the issues that Joy had kind of mentioned before, whether it be food or aging in place, managing pain.
Yeah, we listed in the thing you all have that some of the work could be focusing on housing, issues with childcare in the community. I wouldn't be like doing that work specifically, but maybe coordinating agencies that are already doing the work. And we currently are working on a food access network in Carroll County that we did a bunch of research on access to food in the county. And then now we're trying to solve those problems. But my work is limited in how much time I can commit to that effort based on if it fits into those guidelines of nutrition and low income. So it just opens the door for more work that I can do.
Representative Brown.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So is all your work centered around income-based support, local income-based support?
Currently, yes.
Okay.
I can only work in schools that are 50% low income, like 50% of the kids getting free or reduced meals at school. And I can only work with groups that at least half the group or more are low income, which is like they qualify for public assistance.
So it's not just school specific, it's basically income specific. So any individual that's low income can get this type of support. Correct? Okay, thank you.
Representative McConkey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Having worked with Mr. Gagnon on projects, and she's offered assistance with the Land Advisory Committee, work on the food access working group, and other projects that I've had the pleasure of being involved with her. The statement that she has free time, I don't think she has free time.
Free up, excuse me, sir.
I would be full support of this proposal.
Thank you. Representative,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you assure us that what you're currently doing, it would still be a priority?
It would be. This would only be a percent of my time, so I would still have to. I may adjust like what my goals are for the year with what I'm doing, but I would still be doing that. It would just give me more time to do other stuff.
Representative Cordali.
Thank you. In terms of the aging population write-up, could you explain what the AARP Age-Friendly Communities Initiative is?
Yeah, I'd love to. So in the Gibson Center, over the past several years, has adopted this AARP Age-Friendly Initiative, and they have expanded into, I think, 11 or 12 towns in Carroll County. And if you were to go to their website, you'd see they have several different domains that they focus on, and it's like transportation and housing, and basically aging in place is their focus. But it's only so many towns, which are quite a few, but it's not the whole county. So with this work, I would be able to kind of focus on how could we expand that farther, outreach to the communities, or just kind of taking things that are working in one area and see if we can start it somewhere else. So a lot of times what I see in my work is there's something that's happening in this town or this county or part of the county that's not happening in the other, and maybe they don't even know that it's working here. They could try it. So it would really be taking those different things and expanding them.
Thank you. So maybe on the Gibson Center or other website, we can find out more about the this community aging communities initiative.
Definitely.
Any further questions for UNH? Seeing none, motion, Representative McConkey.
Motion to items 4611, New Hampshire Community, or the extension, bottom line 313627, motion to approve.
By McConkey.
By McConkey.
Seconded by Brown. Any discussion? Representative McDonald.
Mr. Chairman, so this figure includes the new request that they're asking for?
I think it's the request from, that's the increase from last year.
The 313 number you're looking at represents the full request that was approved, proposed by the commissioners as well, but it approves the funding for Joy's position in addition to our rent increase and funding increase to the general budget.
Thank you, sir. Welcome. Representative Brown? Smith?
Yeah, that was my question.
Perfect. Any further questions or discussion? Mr. Clark?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If you're in favor of the motion, you signify by saying yes or yay, and if you are opposed, nay or no. Cordelli?
Yes.
McConkey, yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
No.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
Yes.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Pednell?
Yes.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman? Yes. Motion carries 14 to 1.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Keep up the good work, you two.
Appreciate you.
You as well, thanks.
Me as well.
I mean, representing a representative.
We're gonna need it. Our last and our favorite, my favorite, regional appropriations. So, Representative McConkey.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to reconsider appropriations 4659. I would like to request a reduction in Whitehorse 089 by $7,000. And number 165, Mount Washington Valley Adult Daycare by $3,000. And then to add funding of $10,000 to the Bear Camp Valley School.
And?
What was the second one?
Looking for a second?
No, the second one,
Second reduction.
minus 7,000 from,
Oh, I'm sorry, the reduction is 7,000 from Whitehorse, which is line 089. And the second is 165 Mount Washington Valley Adult Daycare by 3,000. Taking monies out, I'll speak to it after.
Please, go right ahead.
You want to speak now?
Yep.
Okay. I believe in the hard work that the commissioners have done in setting up this regional appropriation. We have been in step with Whitehorse right along with addiction. We added a new line, which was the Valley Adult Care up in Conway, which was not an appropriation in the past. But I have listened with interest that we have facilities for daycare. In Conway, we have the same opportunity in Wolfboro. Both of those are fortunate to have larger endowments that help them with that purpose. Being an employer and adjusting every way you can to keep an employee, whether someone has to go to school late or a child or something else, I think having the ability in Tamworth in the middle of that is very appropriate. While I am all in favor of bringing people back into the working community with addiction, and I'm very much in favor of helping families with the adult daycare up in Conway, I think we need to also speak to and fund, and this is minimal, $10,000. We were $25,000 the year before, but we need to help employers and families to be able to go to work. That's the reason for my proposal.
Thank you, Representative Cordella.
Thank you. I won't comment on the need for adult daycare, but in terms of white horse reduction, I think given the situation we are facing in this county, in this nation, I would not be supportive of reducing the appropriation for White Horse Addiction Center. It's my understanding that they are doing considerable work at the Department of Corrections these days. I'm not sure how much, if there is a contract with them for that, or under what auspices that is being done, but could the treasurer update us on if there is a contract with White House for those services?
Not that I'm aware. I don't have any information on that.
I can speak to it.
Okay.
Go ahead, ask the gentleman.
Yes, good, yes.
So, just to answer your question, no, we don't have a contract. We're currently using 3 people to go into the Department of Corrections. We're running 3 different workshops, group sessions in there, and we're working on the transition of people that are leaving post-incarceration. So we're helping them with wraparound services. We're bringing them out. We're currently trying to get a grant for that funding, but we've been doing this. We did it all last year, and we started this year by ramping it up more. We added 2 more people to it because it's been pretty successful. So we're doing that. So there's no funding for that. That's actually why we asked for increased funding this year. Part of the reason. We gave away $265,000 in services to the county last year. That included, we take Medicaid, where most for-profits don't. Medicaid pays approximately 50% of what it costs to put somebody through. We also operated with sliding fee scales, and we gave away about $5,000 a month in free service to the county. So in addition to the $265,000 we gave away, this year we're projecting $100,000 going out just to the county Department of Corrections to support that program too. So it's just we're getting to a point where we have got a wait list for the first time ever of about 20 people that we just don't have enough staff to serve, and the ramp up at the jail is taking a lot more resources than we originally anticipated. But it's been pretty successful, and we want to keep it going. We've actually been asked by other jails in other locations to see if we could do a similar program. But this is wholly Carroll County that this funding goes to.
Representative Cordella, follow-up?
Thank you. Yes, the 20 people you mentioned on the waiting list, are they all in Carroll County?
Yeah.
Okay.
Carroll County residents.
Okay.
We don't have the funding to get more staff at this time.
From the looks of this, between the 2023 budget and this proposed budget, you're being level funded, is that correct?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Representative Brown.
Thank you. I don't see the county sheriff here, but I do see the county attorney here. Could the county attorney discuss whether or not we should have a program for our own county people that should be supported by the county as opposed to charitable organization? No?
Perfect world?
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay. I know what you want. Representative Woodcock.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to speak at, one, process, are we going to go, if I may, is your plan to hop around from place to place and move things on people's perspective, or are we going to decide we're going to leave it where they are or move them up? Or what is the process before we get into dialoguing about each one?
I'm trying to stay away from the dialoguing for each one.
Well, we're already into that.
We're already there. What we can do is, we can take motions, we can make adjustments. I don't really want to drag this out all day.
That being said, if I may,
Go ahead.
to the motion. I have, where, just to clarity, I don't know where Representative McConkey was talking about the adult day center in Wolfboro. There's only one in the entire, there's only 8 in the entire state. The Mount Washington Adult Day Center is the only Carroll County adult day center that treats Alzheimer's and dementia. They're similarly to Whitehorse, gives away a portion of their funding. This is a 5-year-old program, as you're aware, that got hit after the first year with COVID. It was just hanging because they couldn't get people in. It's strictly a non-profit organization totally. And in the initial budget, there was $70,000, the first draft we saw, and then it came down to 35. Beyond the interaction, the social interaction that the center provides, it's all professional staff, RNs and certified staff. The point of the center is for folks to get, the people who are attending there, it's not a day care, it's a day activity center where there's programming as well as fresh meals, breakfast and lunch, all from everyone that comes through the door that's a client. And the other part of this that people forget, and if you have not had the experience, I hope you don't have to, if you have been a caretaker for someone 24/7, then you know after a while that becomes very short-changed and you have no more life. This other benefit of the day center is for the caregivers to have a chance to go out and have part of life, do the shopping, do those things, and have some space. Because being a caregiver 24/7 is extremely difficult, and some of us who've been through that know that. So I do think that I would much prefer to move on these nonprofits, particularly where we're seeing the interest, move as they are presented or increase, but not decrease from any other of these accounts. Thank you.
Representative McConkey.
Thank you, and to the representative's comment. The reason I chose where I did was that, and I do not underestimate the good work of the Adult Day Center, none whatsoever. I come from a family, psychiatric nurses and so forth. I'm not downgrading that. It's a new request. It started out at $147,000. It's a new funding of $35,000. I was looking at only taking $3,000 from that. As far as the White Horse goes, wonderful work. I've stood there with you time after time, sang the praises between both gentlemen at the end of the table for that program. I totally believe in the program, but I also believe that if we're focused there and we can't keep families working and child care taken care of and working in the middle, I'm just taking some from two and I'm trying to fund that need. And that's where I am. If it could come elsewhere, I'd consider elsewhere. My goal was to not increase the appropriation, minor adjustments, $7,000 out of what's the appropriation, $100,000+. I was just trying to stand for the families as opposed to a minor reduction from the other two, well warranted. It's a heartbreak any way you go.
Mr. Chair?
But that's where I chose.
Representative Woodcock.
Thank you. I would just suggest that I'm not suggesting that the standing for families is that's exactly what we're trying to do. I would suggest that if in fact that you believe that there needs to be an additional funding in a line item. Particularly this nonprofit line item that serves the county, that you add the increase to that line item versus reduce nonprofits in the county, based on what you're thinking or anyone else thinking on the table at this point on these people, because there's probably nothing here that doesn't serve the county well. But on those two, if it's in your perspective, that's only a small change with the $7,000, then I would suggest to you that you put it in the budget.
Mr. Chairman.
That's just my point. I'm sorry.
Representative Page has his hand raised on the Zoom.
Representative Page.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think I appreciate Representative McConkey's motion, and if the folks from Bear Camp are able to speak to it. I think one question on my mind, since the request was $75,000, and they have come to us saying that they have a concern about their ability to keep their early childhood program running. The question that comes to my mind is, if they were to receive this $10,000, do they feel that they will still be able to keep their doors open? So that would be the first question I would ask, and I don't know if now is appropriate time, but I'd love their input on whether, I'm sure every bit helps, but with that $10,000, do they feel confident that they will be able to keep the program open?
They're not. They're no longer here.
They have left, Representative Page.
Okay.
Representative Brown.
Thank you. Representative McConkey, could you clarify what the previous funding amount was for Bear Camp again? I remember the conversation earlier, but where we funded them before versus where we're looking to fund them?
Mr. Chairman, if I could, my
Please.
understanding was $25,000 last year. They had some specific needs on the building improvements that they couldn't, and I believe there was a letter that was sent by the fire chief on further inspection that the building repairs are settled.
So we,
Follow?
yes, so we're just trying to get them back to a prior level of funding?
I don't know that we're getting back to a prior level. I'm trying to get an infusion to them. I believe when we looked at numbers, it would at least keep one more student involved in the program.
Thank you.
I would also remind everybody that the commissioners have a program in place that sends 2% of the appropriated budget out in regional appropriations, just to make sure that we're not asking them to violate that policy that we've asked for through the years just so everybody's aware of that.
Clarification, Mr. Chair? Sure. What is that number?
Approximately 430,000.
Mr. Chair?
Representative Bauer, sorry.
Yeah, I agree with Representative Woodcock. I mean, all these nonprofits do amazing work. So I'm going to put in my plug for the Child Advocacy Center, because their mission is treating children who have been abused. And I don't know if there's anything worse than a child who's been abused, either sexually or physically. It creates, it's a lifetime of trauma. So I would really like to see that number go up to the request of 70,000.
And where is that going to come from?
I thought out of the restaurant? I'm sorry, I was joking.
Out of what?
Out of your restaurant, I'm joking, okay.
Sorry, I thought we had a new expenditure.
Okay. Boy, I mean, this is tough. I mean,
We have a certain amount of money, and we do this every time, so we want to make sure that, one, we're within the policy, and two, that we do our due diligence to make sure that we're doing everybody,
so perhaps if we dropped lines 153 and 155 down to 75,000, I mean, that would bring in another 5,000. I mean, I don't think we're going to get to 70 here today, but that would be my proposal.
So I would like to do that one motion at a time, if that's okay with everyone? Representative McAleer.
Thank you. My question is, where did this 2% come up with? I mean, is this in stone?
It's a policy that we've...
Well, it's a policy, but
that the delegation has asked for years and rules for appropriating these monies between the commissioners and the delegation. So it's not an endless spigot of money that we're passing on from the taxpayers to these regional folks, because these are kind of newer for us over the last few years.
It just seems rather arbitrary to me, that's all. And I think it could be flexible.
Treasurer Costello.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to echo the representative's comments about the adult daycare center in Conway. And I will disclose to you that I'm a part-time employee there. If no one has had an opportunity to go look and see what this adult day center does, you really should do this. I'm really miffed that they got cut down to $35,000 from the $147,000 they requested. And I wish there was some way that could get increased to at least $50,000. But I encourage all of the representatives to make an appointment and go look and see what this adult daycare center does. We're all getting older in the population, and while I agree with the commissioner about the children, that's important, but the elders are also important. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Cordell.
Thank you. As I recall, there was a pretty extensive application process when a nonprofit submits an application for funding through the regional appropriations. And I guess if I might just ask the commissioners, I think we got a copy of the policy emailed to us. Did the commissioners follow that policy in coming up with these appropriations that were proposed in the budget?
Yes.
Thank you.
If you look at the budget, the original request total was almost $731,000. So it's a difficult task to cut it down to the 2%. And we spent a fair amount of time doing it and tried to be as fair as we could.
Representative Bucco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I heard the CFO say that the number was 430, and here it's 477. So it hasn't, as far as I know, and I've been here for many years, that the 2% was, it sounds arbitrary to me too, because I don't remember ever having that before.
Got it before. CFO and then Representative McDonald.
I just want to say it is at 477, but we received opioid settlement funds, which will be used to offset that 477 to bring it down close to the 429.
Well, Mr. Chairman.
Follow up. Hold 1 second, Representative Page.
Can I consider making a motion at this point?
There's a motion on the floor. So hang on to that motion for 1 second. Representative McDonald. We can ask questions all day long, we can move forward on motions, so we're going to be here for another hour discussing these things, so. Representative McDonald.
I think we should start focusing on families, kids, and our older adults. I've been here since, I think, 2018, and White House, again, I think they do a great program, but they came in for $150,000. And that was to be used, as my understanding, my memory, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, to purchase a building, for down payment for a building. And it was $150 for a few years, now it's down to $125. And what troubles me is when I look at their website, they're running a business that's competing against businesses in my community and probably businesses in your community. And I don't think that's fair. You're either totally nonprofit or you aren't. And they can say they're nonprofit, but if they're running a business that's competing against businesses in my town, then it's a business. We're not helping out any of the other ones. Again, they do a great job. I hear they're going to expand to Coos County. And I don't know what they're going to ask Coos County for, what financial support. But I think we can cut down White House a little bit more, start to bring them down, where they've got to work a little bit harder to bring them money. Because a lot of these groups are struggling, and they're things that we should be helping families, the kids, and older adults. And eventually I'm going to be one of those older adults, so I'd appreciate if we get a little bit more money, even though I live in Wolfboro. But that's it. I'm probably going to vote against this motion, do a motion to deduct another $25,000 from White House.
We did not. Representative Burrows.
I just want to, just in reference to what you said, I think a lot of nonprofits are being forced to run a for-profit component to their business. I know the Conway Humane Society is looking into that because none of these can make ends meet on just just by raising money on their own. But just in terms of the building, I actually called another agency that deals with addiction, and they raved about the services of Whitehorse, said that they're doing a phenomenal job. But their concern was that if they build another building, where are they going to get staff from? Because there's not housing, and none of the other agencies in this area are able to get staff. So that was their concern.
Thank you. Representative Smith?
I have a procedural question. I've heard, obviously, I believe we as a delegation should honor the commissioners, their executive authority to stay within the 2%. And I hear representatives speak about expending above that 2%. But from a procedural standpoint, the commissioners have full authority, regardless of what this delegation expends, to control it and only expend within that 2%. So can I hear from the commissioners that even if this delegation agrees to expend above and beyond, are you going to hold at that 2% and not expend the additional funds if the delegation appropriates it?
We can ask one of the commissioners, we can't ask them as a whole.
Correct. So, right, I understand correct.
Ron, you're on more than me.
You know, I've been here 6 months and Bill's been here 2 months. I don't know the answer to that. I was under the impression that whatever the delegation approved is what we would spend. But
Follow?
That's, you have the ultimate authority as to what's expended, regardless of what the delegation chooses to expend on the outside agencies. It is your final say.
Well, if
That's
you appropriate the money, I would assume we would spend the money.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Thank you.
I don't know why we wouldn't.
Okay.
But again, that's only one,
Correct. I know it's only an opinion of one.
only opinion of one, that's all we can ask.
Mr. Chair?
Representative Page, my apologies.
No problem. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So my question is regarding the Conservation District funding. Is my recollection correct that that's mandatory? And if so, why do we include it in this regional appropriation budget alongside the nonprofit applicants?
Because as far as I know, from what we've been doing it's been in the regional appropriation because it is technically a regional appropriation. UNH, I think, is the only one that is by statute. Unless I'm missing something on the Conservation District.
Mr. Chair, we have a representative from that organization, like.
Sure. Come on up.
To answer your question, Catherine Dufault, District Manager, Carroll County Conservation District. To answer your question, the Conservation District funding is mandated by Title XL, Chapter 432, ratified during the 1980s. Counties must provide funding to a county conservation district.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, Representative Page. You have a follow-up?
Yeah, my follow-up is just, it feels sort of like we're artificially limiting the nonprofits that we can support by including this in our regional appropriations budget when we're talking about our 2% cap. So I guess it's not a follow-up question, it's just, or I guess it's a question for the CFO as to whether we have to keep it in this budget or not.
Well, if it's mandated, I would say no, but I guess I would like to know what the mandate involves as far as specific dollar values.
It's very long. It does not mandate specific dollar values, just that they are hereby established and left to the counties to discern the funding for. The way it works in other counties is that they are required to provide funding for a district manager and benefits, but that's about it.
Could I have one?
You want to take a look at that?
And it was included in my budget packet as well.
Was it first and second?
As far as I know, it was. So first by McConkey, seconded by, was it Smith?
I don't even remember the motion, Mr. Chair. We're so far away from the motion.
Yeah, I did it. Okay, you want to do that while the CFO?
I'll do that while the CFO is looking at that, yeah.
Okay. Motion by McConkey, seconded by Brown, to reduce account .89 by $7,000, which is Whitehorse, to additionally reduce item 165, Mount Washington Valley Adult Daycare by $3,000, and then to fund 163, which is the Bear Camp School, Bear Camp Valley School by $10,000, using those monies to increase that line to $10,000.
Any further discussion?
If you're in favor of the motion, you'll signify by saying yes or aye, and if you are opposed to the motion, nay or no. Cordelli?
No.
McConkey, yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
Yes.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald? Petnell?
Yes.
Bucco?
No.
Woodcock?
No.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
No.
Page?
No.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
2, 3, 4, 5 nays. Motion carries 10-5.
Thank you. CFO, have you come to a
Well,
determination?
I mean, she is correct that it is established a subdivision and that the 10 counties are incorporated into the conservation district, but it doesn't speak to dollars.
Okay, but something has to be funded.
The management,
Yeah, it doesn't really, it's not really specific as to what has to be funded. It doesn't really say anything specifically, as far as I can see.
Mr. Chair?
Hold on.
Thing.
Hold on. One second. Representative Crawford.
Is the $50,000 your salary? Part of your salary?
No, it is my salary and fringe benefits
It's the 50,000?
estimated.
Is there any, may I have a follow-up?
Sure,
Thank
certainly.
you. Is there any other forms of revenue that go into your benefits and your salary besides the 50,000 from someplace else?
No.
Representative Woodcock.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I was following up on Representative Page's commentary, and it seemed to me that it would make sense to not fund this through the regional appropriation nonprofit, but rather put it in a line, it's the annual budget item, because it is an annual budget item. And
I would not disagree right now.
So my motion would be to ask the CFO to identify a line item that would not be under regional appropriations and fund that at the level required without reducing the regional appropriation bottom line.
First one. One motion to
That's
establish a new department, put this into a new department at its current funding level.
No, I'm
second.
I'm asking you to repeat it again.
I shortened it for you. So it's to
Give me your
develop a
executive
new,
summary, please.
yeah, it's to develop a new line item. So we need a new department, and then we also need a line item for that, and then we'll also move this funding out of the regional appropriations in a subsequent motion. CFO.
Can we, just point of clarification, can we just change the title of Department 4611 to, I don't know, state mandated organizations, something like that, county mandated organizations, and have the co-op and the conservation under that?
I like that.
Okay.
I like that
So,
too.
Thank you, Representative Page.
Okay,
Thank you, Representative Woodcock.
so let's make it under 4611 at .002.
Okay? All right.
Which the new department will be what?
What would the new department be called?
Conservation District.
No, county mandated organizations? I don't know.
County mandated
County mandated appropriations.
Okay, county mandated appropriations, how's that sound?
Sounds great. 4611 will be renamed. Added a 002 line to incorporate the Conservation District out of line 155. Motion to approve. Representative Woodcock, seconded by Representative Page. Any further discussion?
Just a clarification.
Please.
Chair. It is not my intent to transfer the $50,000 out of this account. It is my intent to establish the new line with that monies. And just a further, I think the CFO, if the initial proposal for conservation was 56,640, I'm guessing that was the budget line for the mandated salary and benefits.
That was the request from the Conservation District, but there is nothing in that statute that says what the dollar amount needs to be.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We need to create that department in order to transfer money into it.
Thank you.
Welcome. Any further discussion? Mr. Clark.
Motion by Woodcock, seconded by Page, create a new department line at .4611, .002 for county mandated appropriations. If you're in favor of that motion, you'll signify by saying yes. If you're opposed, no. And with that, Cordelli?
Yes.
McConkey, yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
Yes.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yep.
Cutnell?
Yes.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman? Yes. Motion carries 15-0.
Thank you. Representative Woodcock, do you have a number you'd like to put in there?
I would request that the number, we create a funding level of 56,640 to cover the salary and benefits of the Conservation District under the regular budget.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Representative. First, motion by Woodcock, seconded by McAleer. Any further discussion? Representative Constable.
Can you tell me why you're going with the requested budget over what we had approved?
We haven't approved that, Matt.
Certainly, yeah, we haven't approved anything
We
yet.
haven't approved anything. It's just hanging in space.
Or what the commissioners had approved?
But I think the commissioners did it to stay within that 2%.
This is, my question is, we know it's a one-person position. We know the cost of the one-person position, salaries and benefits is 56,640. So my suggestion is that we forward a cost in the budget. So one-person position. Thank you.
Welcome. Any further discussion?
So if I understand the motion, Mr. Chairman, motion made by Woodcock, seconded by McAleer, to move $56,460 into budget 4611-002.
Correct.
If you're in favor of that
Just
motion.
a clarification, to be an account determined by the CFO?
No, we already have it, 002.
I'm talking about the funding, the revenue, just the revenue number. My intent is still to leave that money in that budget. My intent is still, I want to make sure this is clear.
Yep.
My intent is still to leave the $50,000 in the regional appropriation in there.
Correct.
Thank you.
As a new amount. I'm with you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, we just have to do it in steps. So we have opened the line, we are now funding the line with 56,640, 56640.00. That is motioned and made and seconded. Mr. Clerk.
If you're in favor of the motion, signify by yes. If you're opposed, no. Cordelli?
Yes.
McConkey is yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
Yes.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yep.
Petnell?
Yes.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
Motion carries 15-0.
thank you. Now that that is all set, Representative Woodcock.
Thank you. I would move that the White Horse Advocacy Center be returned to 125, and that the Mount Washington Valley Day Center be returned to 35,000.
I would second. It's a motion.
Motion, seconded. Any further discussion? Representative Cordelli.
Isn't the motion a reconsideration motion first?
No, as we've not closed that section.
But we had a vote on moving that money.
Correct, he's reestablishing those funding.
Right,
that funding
so I would
level.
think that a reconsideration motion would be in order.
Mr. Chairman?
Is it a procedural question, Representative Page?
Yes, wouldn't, because the prior motion also included putting that 10,000 in funding into another line, isn't this different than a reconsideration?
I would actually tend to agree. Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Representative Barros.
Yeah, as long as we're making her request here, I would also like to move that the...
I'd like to go one at a time.
I thought you're going to do other ones? Gotcha.
That way, we're going to save some time here.
Got it, okay.
Otherwise, we're going to be talking all afternoon. Motion's been made and seconded.
Motion was made.
Woodcock?
The second.
Woodcock, Beckley was the second. 125 for White Horse and 35,000 for daycare. Yeah, 165.
So motion to increase or return funding for White Horse, item 09, back to $125,000. And items .165, return $3,000 of funding to bring that back to $35,000, which makes those two accounts whole.
Representative McDonald.
Could I ask that we split the vote, one for White Horse and then one for the Mount Washington Valley Adult Daycare, since we are taking things in the future by doing one at a time?
That was the motion of the original. If Representative Woodcock would like to do
Mr.
that.
Chair, I'd be happy to. I think it's probably appropriate as I know that John has something specific for that. I'd be happy to remove, I'd be happy to vote on each of these singularly, if that's easier.
Thank you. Would you remove your second, Representative McAleer? Mr. Representative Woodcock, would you restate your motion?
Yes, sir. I'd approve to move the Mount Washington Valley Adult Day Center to $35,000.
Thank you. We have a second, Representative McAleer. Any further discussion? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Motion by Woodcock, seconded by McAleer to restore item 165, $3,000, returning the original appropriation back to $35,000 for the adult center. If you're in favor by that motion, signify by saying yes. If opposed, no. Cordelli?
Yes.
McConkey is yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
No.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
No.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Petnell?
Yes.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Carries 13-2.
Thank you. Representative Woodcock.
Chair, I'd move the White Horse Addiction Center be funded at level $125,000.
Thank you. Second, Representative McAleer.
Yes.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Mr. Clark.
Thank you. Motion to restore $10,000 or $7,000 back to White Horse. .89 is the line, back to $125,000, made by Woodcock, seconded by McAleer. If you're in favor of the motion, signify by saying yes. Opposed, no. Cordelli?
Yes.
McConkey is a yes. Smith?
No.
Belcher.
No.
Brown.
Yes.
Constable.
No.
Crawford.
No.
McDonald.
No.
Pednell.
Yes.
Bucco.
Yes.
Woodcock.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
McAleer.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Motion carries 10 to 5.
Thank you, Representative McDonald.
A motion to level fund 68 hours of hunger at $5,000.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Representative McConkey. 5,000 for 68 hours of hunger. Go, sir.
I'm sorry, I can hear.
$5,000.
Right,
And they're redistributed.
Hold on.
Where's the money?
All John is doing is putting it back in the current use of 5,005. It's 158, 158, 158. Thank you, we haven't clarified to the corner.
Thank you. CFO.
While I was reading the conservation, did you pass the 10,000 in Bear Camp?
That was already at 10,000.
Okay,
You're following where we're, how much we're using?
yes.
Thank you.
We're at 35, Mr. Chair. What we would do is passage.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion on motion from Representative McDonald? Mr. Clark.
Motion made by
Did you have a
McDonald,
question?
seconded by McConkey to restore item 1.158 and 68 hours of hunger to $5,000. If you are in favor of that motion, you'll signify.
Question? I'm sorry, it's a question.
Go ahead.
Simple question.
Sure.
The 68 hours of hunger as is listed, there are multiple 68 hours of hunger. There's one up in Conway, there's one down in John's district. So I'm assuming that this is just singular from last year. It doesn't include, so it's not 68 hours of hunger in the county. It's just this specific Wolfboro area.
That would be my, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So if you're in favor of that motion, you'll signify by saying yes or yay, and opposed, nay, or no. Cordelli.
No.
McConkey is a yes. Smith.
Yes.
Belcher.
No.
Brown.
Yes.
Constable.
No.
Crawford.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Pednell.
Yes.
Bucco.
Yes.
Woodcock.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
McAleer.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
All we do, we vote to feed kids.
Motion carries 12 to 3.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Representative Burrows.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to fully fund the Child Advocacy Center serving children who have been abused to its original ask of $70,000.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Representative Bucco. Any further discussion?
Question, Mr.
Can I
Chair?
ask?
1 second, Representative Page, Representative Smith.
This is for the CFO. If this is funded, 15 extra thousand, where does that bring us to the 2%? How close are we? Because I'm not going over the 2%.
This is not, there's been no additional funding.
We're a little,
We'll get the number.
we will be a little bit under, taking into consideration the opioid settlements.
Thank you. We have a first and a second. Any further discussion? Mr. Clark? I'm sorry, Representative Page.
Mr. Smith's question was mine as well.
Thank you.
before we go? So the line item is 099, Child Advocacy Center, and we are moving from 55,000 to what's the new number?
70.
Okay, motion made by Burrows.
Burrows, seconded by Bucco.
If you're in favor of the motion to increase funding to Child Advocacy Center to become $70,000, item number .099 of regional appropriation, signify by saying yes or aye. If you're opposed, nay or no. Mr. Cadelli?
No.
McConkey? Yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
No.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
Yes.
Crawford? McDonald?
Yes.
Petnell?
Yes.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
And Mr. Chairman? Motion carries 13-2. Have we got a couple pennies left?
Do we have a bottom line for CFO?
457,000.
Thank you.
So we're at 70.
We're 70,000.
Yes.
70,000. I'll go back 55.
Correct.
So I'm sorry, the new number, please?
457,000.
Which would be regional appropriations.
Right.
And that is
457,000, that's 4659.
The chair, I would make a motion.
1 second, did the commissioner have a question?
I'm not sure.
You hang on, Representative Woodcock.
I would make a motion that there's no other discussion on the floor to move to 457,000 as the total appropriation for regional I can read that number.
457,000.
Perfect.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Representative McAleer, thank you. Discussion, Commissioner?
McGee.
Please.
Just one thing, just so that everybody's aware, what is it, 37,000?
34,000.
There's 34,000 for the opioid settlement
Correct.
that we're using for this budget,
Correct.
which may or may not be available on a subsequent budget,
Yeah, we're aware of that.
okay?
Yeah, we're aware that there is a timetable on that.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay?
Any discussion on the motion on the floor? Moved by Woodcock, seconded by McAleer. Mr. Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you're in favor of the motion, signify by saying yes or aye, and if you are opposed, nay or no. Cordelli?
No.
McConkey is yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
No.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
No.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Petnell?
Yes.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
And Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, I'm sorry, yes. I was doing math, sorry.
12-3, Mr. Chairman, motion carries.
Thank you. Not bad, hour and a half, people. CFO, we should have a new bottom line number.
Trish is on.
You have cut from the budget, saved taxpayers $387,211.19.
Thank you, can we have that number?
What would you like? The number I just gave you?
No, the total number for the expenses for.
Oh, I'm sorry. $39,558,629.10.
If I could, 39,558,629.
9.10.
Thank you. expenditures, that's in the expenses.
And that is including all the adjustments we made today, all the adjustments the executive committee authorized and the delegation ratified today. Includes all of Hale's locations changes, includes the contract, and includes the new revenue for interest.
That number does not, that I just gave you, because that's.
It's going to be on the other end.
It's going to be on the other side.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, you have that numbers?
Yeah, it was 39558629.10.
Motion to approve the expenditures for FY '24 for Carroll County, 39558629.10.
558. Did you
Okay.
say that, 39,558?
558, yes.
Sorry.
That's okay. Motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Representative Woodcock, Representative Brown. Any discussion? Mr. Clark?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you're in favor of the motion made by Woodcock, seconded by Brown, you will signify by saying aye or yes. If you are opposed, nay or no. Cordelli?
Yes.
McConkey is a yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
Yes.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Pennell?
Yes.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
And Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Mr. Clark.
Motion is unanimous, 15-0.
Thank you. All right. CFO.
Yes.
We had some changes to our revenue numbers through the executive committee and some changes today. Do we have a new bottom line?
Our new revenue number currently is 39,945,840.29.
Let's take that back one step.
Okay, thought so.
Can we do everything except the income from taxes and county general? We passed those three items, right?
We have the
We've-
surplus to reduce taxes you're keeping in there?
1 second, we're gonna take care of that.
We've passed everything except for unincorporated places, county taxes, and surplus to reduce taxes.
All right, where is the unincorporated places? That is 25.5?
It is up under county general for 25.5.
And that is listed in the Hales budget somewhere?
This is just reimbursement for salaries and payroll taxes. Well,
Where's it coming from?
we pay the payroll taxes and then we bill Hales location and they reimburse us.
Where is it in their budget?
You just got expenses, I don't think.
Yeah, administrative expenses is where it's at.
The administrative salaries, the stipends to the commissioner, the treasurer, those are the expenses.
Total for financial administration is 21,240?
I believe that's correct, yes.
Why is it 25.5 in our
Part of it is split into the school.
school?
In school, yep.
That's why you do what you do.
So far, I'm keeping up with you.
You are, I like it. All right, motion to approve 25.5 in unincorporated places under county revenue, which is on page 1 at the top. For everyone is in the revenue side, not the expenditure side.
Is that a motion you'd like, Mr. Chairman?
That is a motion I would like, Mr. Clark.
I make that motion.
Thank you, Representative McConkey. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Representative Cordelli. Any discussion? We've already had it. Mr. Clark?
If you're in favor of the motion, 25,500, signify by saying aye, or opposed, nay, or no. Cordelli?
Yes.
McConkey is yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
Yes.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald? Cornell?
Yes.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimous, 15-0.
And that's with CFO, that's still at 86,000?
Yes.
Thank you. We did sheriff's income already?
Yep, the only two we have left is taxes and surplus.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
I'm not sure actually that you did the sheriff's income because you put a stipulation because Eaton's budget hadn't passed yet.
Correct. I'm going to address that. The one piece of this that we're waiting on under the sheriff's is the new Eaton agreement for 12/6. I would ask that the delegation allow the executive committee to make that adjustment when it comes in. Is that a motion?
Exactly.
Thank you, Representative Woodcock. Do we have a second?
McConkey?
Thank you. That is to allow the executive committee to make that adjustment to the budget when it comes up for a vote in wherever it is. Motion to approve.
Woodcock?
Yep.
Seconded by McConkey.
Any discussion? Mr. Clark?
If you're in favor, aye. If you're opposed, nay. Yes or no. Cordelli?
Yes.
McConkey? Yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
Yes.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Cornell?
Yes.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimous, 15-0.
Thank you. CFO, we have reduced the budget. We have increased revenues. We've changed revenues. What is your new recommendation for the surplus to reduce taxes?
I will compromise with you at 4 million even.
I was actually looking for less.
Oh, well,
Looking for more.
let's compromise. I'm at 3.7 as presented, but with the funds that you've cut down to,
We didn't cut anything. We readjusted.
we readjusted down to 387. So what I would suggest is we increase the surplus to 4 million and we reduce the county taxes by 87 to 1119.
Hold on that for 1 second. Representative
No,
Cordell.
I was going to ask about the, with the adjustment to the surplus use, what the income from taxes would be required at.
We have to do one together.
I know, right, I'm looking to see, you know, how much I will go for in terms of use of the surplus.
Understood. I want to apologize to delegation. I skipped forward over the expenses. There was a request from the Lands Committee chairman for something, and I want to apologize to him for skipping over his request.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to reconsider the Commissioner's budget, item 4130, which I had on page 1. I want to add a new expenditure line for $75,000 for the purpose of securing grants to include public outreach to explore 3 items: childcare, workforce housing to attract and retain county employees. Item 2, the current viability of the county centralized sewer system. And 3 would be to expand our opportunity for county residents to farm our county land. The $75,000, Mr. Chairman, would not be raised by taxation, but instead from the surplus fund balance. Prior to any draw from the new account, the commissioners must gain the approval of the executive committee. Speak further to it, or is that fine, Mr. Chairman?
That is your motion, Mr. McConkey?
That is my motion.
Motion to reconsider the Commissioner's budget based upon the request from the Lands Committee. Do we have a second? Representative Brown, thank you. Discussion, Representative McConkey, you can speak to your motion, please, for reconsideration.
We are making great strides on all three of those items, or two of those items. We talked about childcare, how to increase childcare through the county. Not that the county would be paying for that service, but we would enter into grants and possibly building with a provider. The second is we are talking long range, that possibly using some of our 900 acres for workforce housing, and working with the developer as opposed to the federal government for that purpose. Another item is we've all understand the value of our prime agricultural land. We're working with the county extension, a lot of conversation here on how we can move from the government farming to making the land available for our residents in the county. Our hope is that we would put this seed money out there, and we want to do a large outreach program. We have some nonprofits that would work with us to find out what the appetite is of the residents of Carroll County for these things. And then if we were to move forward with grants, that the county would have the availability to pay their share of those grants if they were to come forward. Nothing would be decided by the Lands Committee. We would advise the delegation. The monies would come from surplus to the commissioners, but the commissioners couldn't decide what it was they wanted to spend money on without the executive committee's approval. Another item in there is we have just commissioned a study. They're getting close on our water system, on whether there's extra capacity, all the things that need to be done to make that system whole. It appears that we don't have a lot of extra surplus at this point in time. But we have not entered into the same discussion with our county sewer system, the centralized sewer system that takes care of this campus. It is the understanding, a real cursory understanding of that we may have 7,000 or 8,000 gallons of extra surplus here. But we have a system that's well over 20 years old. We're having problems with pumps and so forth. We've had discussions with Department of Environmental Services, Waste Division, and the Water Division, that there could be some planning grants out there that would help us with these items. But most likely there's going to have to come down to some county involvement on those grants. So the thought is to take $75,000 from a very large surplus we have, move it into this item, and then it'll be a discussion as those items move forward. And if it makes sense for the county to move in those directions, we won't be held back because we have to go to a special appropriation. I think that handles it, unless Mr. Brown has something.
Thank you. Representative Brown, anything to add?
No, I agree.
Representative Page, you have anything to add?
I thank Representative McConkey for bringing it up and for his leadership on this, and I will certainly be voting to support it.
Thank you. Any further questions on reconsideration? Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
If you're in favor of the motion for reconsideration, signify by saying aye or yes. Opposed, nay or no. Cordelli?
No.
McConkey is yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
No.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
No.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Petnell?
No.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
motion carries 4 opposed, 11 to 4.
Thank you, Representative McConkey. And your motion going forward is to place this within the commissioner's budget. CFO, can we have a line for that?
I hate to do that without looking.
Well, we have a big jump. We go from 070 to 085, so we could put that somewhere in there.
But the problem is, I like to keep the numbers consistent between all the departments, so I can Can we put in 3 question marks and I'll get back to you on that? Let's go with .087.
087?
I'm only guessing, but yeah.
Okay, well-
Hopefully that works.
All right. Moving to 087 under land grants, is that acceptable?
Please with me, sir.
Land grants,
In the amount of $75,000, motion by McConkey, do we have a second?
Second by Brown.
Thank you. Any discussion? Representative Cornell.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not sure where the $75,000 comes into play. One, in terms of if we're looking for farmers to farm or hay on our fields, we can do an RFP. We've talked about that in the past. We had someone come in years ago and want to start a hay co-op, but we never followed up with that. In terms of workforce housing and childcare, it sounds like what we're talking about is doing a survey. In terms of the sewer, we've had discussions on that. We could put it into capital reserve. I don't know why we need this land grant line item.
Thank you, Representative Cordelli. Any further discussion? Mr. Clark?
If you're in favor of the motion, creating line .087 for $75,000 from surplus for land grants, you signify by saying aye or yes. If you're opposed, nay or no. Cordelli?
No.
McConkey is yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
No.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
No.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Petnell?
No.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
motion carries 11 to 4.
Thank you. Do we have a new total for the Commissioner's line? 4130, CFO?
Yep, I was down to the total already. Let's see.
Can't get there yet.
I know.
We'll get there soon.
Okay, new commissioners totals 324, 531, 82.
Sorry, may I have that again, please?
324, 531.82.
I'll make the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
Motion by McConkey to approve.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Representative Brown. Any further discussion? Mr. Clark?
To adjust the Commissioner's budget to 324,531.82. Motion made by McConkey, seconded by Brown. If you're in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye or yes, nay or no if you're opposed. Cordelli?
No.
McConkey is a yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
No.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
No.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Petnell?
No.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
And Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion carries 11 to 4.
Thank you. You know what I want, CFO?
39,633,629.10.
That's a number. Could I have it again, please?
39,633,629.10.
And this is the,
Readjusted number for the increase that you requested. Thank you.
I will make that motion.
Thank you, Representative McConkey. Do we have a second? Representative Brown?
Yes.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Mr. Clark?
If you're in favor of the motion, you'll signify saying yes or aye. If you're opposed, nay or no. Cordelli?
No.
McConkey is a yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
No.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
No.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Petnell?
No.
Bucco,
Yes.
Woodcock,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
McAleer.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
motion carries 11 to 4.
Thank you, Representative McConkey, and I do apologize for not picking that up earlier.
Thank you for coming back.
CFO, I'm looking for a surplus number
Okay,
that
so,
takes into consideration the $75,000, so we are not raising it by taxes.
okay, so I was going a little too fast here. We have a surplus right now of $312,211.19. We therefore do not need to increase the surplus. I am requesting that we reduce the county taxes by $112,211.19 of that, and put the remaining $200,000 in the capital reserve. It was worth a shot.
It was. It was a good one. We did it last month.
I know.
Yes, that's a lot of work for that. So we need a number the surplus to reduce taxes so we can come up with the income from taxes. Or, yeah.
Right now I have it at 3.7 million and taxes are at 22 million, which is a 2.87% increase over last year. No. What do you want?
No, we reduced the expenditures and we increased the revenue, so that number should reduce taxes. Because the MS 45 is going to be requiring that, if I'm correct, right? We need to have a level number.
Yeah, you need to have a level number, absolutely. I'm concerned by increasing the taxes that little though. Because that's what happened last year. We had such a huge jump because we were level funding the taxes, and it, instead of having a steadier increase year to year.
I don't disagree, I just want to make sure that we are, because 3.71 million plus 22 million gives us 39,127, which doesn't match our expenditure budget.
If I take, all right, let me give you the number. If I take the surplus that we have from moving things around, it brings taxes down to 21,687,788.81. That's basically a 1.4% increase over last year.
And what does that leave us with the fund balance?
3.7, use of fund balance at 3.7.
The remaining fund balance.
Oh, okay. That leaves us at 7,580,256, which is approximately 19%.
Representative Cordelli.
Thank you. A couple of things. I think what we're looking at, this surplus amount we're talking about is audited plus unaudited. If I'm not mistaken.
Correct, yep.
Right. The 22, I thought I had 22 audited surplus was $7,231,624. The current unaudited amount is $11,512,436. I like to be conservative, especially when we're talking about use of unaudited numbers. But if we're talking about 1.4%, and this is a healthier, if you want to put it that way, surplus in that we've, over the past decade that I've been here, we have overtaxed people. It's pure and simple. And when you look at actual spending versus budgeted, we've overtaxed people, and that's why we have this surplus. So I would take the amount of surplus necessary to make it a zero tax increase.
Yes, Representative Crawford, my
Well,
apologies. I was
that's okay.
thinking and trying to talk at the same time.
I was hoping you wouldn't make her wait any further.
That's okay. So since Moulton Borough pays about 23% of that, and we pay the most, I would say anything is better than even a 1.4%. So I'd be looking for either 0 or even less. I mean, our town takes, we have a 12% that we retain. That's right in our,
Right,
our
you
policies.
guys are the largest
We
pool.
do, yeah. So I'm representing Moulton Borough that way, and I would appreciate if people would think about that.
CFO, what would that number be to be zero funding?
What would the tax dollar amount be?
No, what would the surplus number
Oh,
be to
oh.
have a zero increase?
It would be $4,001,675.81. 4,001,675.81.
Representative Cordelli, is
Yes.
that your motion?
Could I make a motion for use of surplus in the amount of $4,001,675.81?
Do we have a second?
I second that.
Representative Brown, thank you. Further discussion? Representative Woodcock.
I just want,
Representative Bucco.
just repeat the number, please.
Was that your question to Representative Woodcock?
No.
Representative Bucco, it's 4,001,675.81.
Thank you.
Representative Woodcock.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The CFO, can you tell us the impact of that in your, from a standpoint of the county and your financing? I don't mean the dollar, I mean, what's you're concerned about?
My concern is that the surplus this year is made up of a few factors, but the two largest factors are $1.7 million in unexpected revenue from abandoned property and COVID, which will not be repeated next year, because we've been through all the abandoned property cycle and there's very little out there, and a $1.9 million increase in pro share that we didn't expect, and we don't know what that's going to be this year, so we budgeted it conservatively. Those two total 3.7 plus million. So if we don't get that and we're using a $4 million fund balance, that's 7.7 million. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Representative Belcher.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify, when we're talking about the roughly 4 million, is that the amount that would be required to reduce taxes to zero increase, or is that the amount that remains in our surplus balance after doing so?
That's the amount that is required to
Required,
keep
okay.
taxes
Thank you.
at zero.
Representative McConkey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And what's the percentage left in there?
Probably about 18.3%, approximately.
Mr. Chairman, I'm more than comfortable with 18%, knowing that we won't, we adjust budgets every year.
Representative Cordelli.
Thank you. A few things. I think the amount remaining in the unaudited current allocated surplus is $7,510,760.19. And if we go back and look at, Representative Crawford mentioned the 12% for Moulton Borough. I believe Wolfboro is 10%. 2019 audit that we had recommended 2 months, which would be 16.67%. And the government financial officers have recommended 2 months surplus to be on hand as well, which is 16.67%. So I feel comfortable with this amount.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Question.
Representative Bucco beat you, Representative Woodcock.
He's older. More senior, let me phrase that way.
He's faster though.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just trying to make sure that we have, that I have the correct number that's going to be left as unused fund balance.
CFO, do you have that, what, if we use
Yep.
if we use the $4 million, what is left over in the fund?
$7,278,580.
7 million?
$7,278,580.
Follow up?
Thank you. No.
Representative Woodcock.
Thank you. I just want to question, just go back on Representative McConkey's comment. I think I heard down here to be clear, Mike. It said the general assumption now is, listening to the table, the executive table up there, that we're going to have about 18% left over, and the guideline is typically between 15 and 17 in that ballpark. Thank you.
You're welcome. The commissioners now currently have a policy of what is the percentage?
Just read it yesterday.
Well, it's here somewhere, I just couldn't find it. Representative Cordell.
8 to 15%.
I don't think that's the commissioner's policy, and I just rewrote it to go between 10 and 19, but they haven't approved it.
The policy currently is 8 to 15, but it's also been under review. It's been on the last few weeks' agenda with recommendations from the CFO to change that based on DRA recommendations and others.
What is the DRA recommendations?
Between 5 and 17.
And we're going to stay within that 5 and 17 with the
Well,
uses of
we're
this?
about 18 and a half with the use of the 4 million.
Yes, we're still open. All right.
Motion, Mr. Chairman, by Cordelli, seconded by Brown, on the surplus.
Any further discussion? Mr. Clark, please call that roll.
If you're in favor of the motion, signify by saying yes or aye. If you're opposed, nay or no. Question.
Question, Representative Bucco?
Can I just have the motion reread, please, before we vote?
Certainly. We're using $4,175 of surplus.
And there'll be 7 million left after that?
Roughly 7.5.
7.3 roughly.
7.3.
Thank you.
Welcome. Any further questions before we call the roll?
Motion
Mark.
by Cordelli, Brown. If you're in favor, yes or aye. Opposed, nay or no. Cordelli.
Yes.
See it back. McConkey, yes. Smith.
Yes.
Belcher.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Possible.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Pennell.
Yes.
Bucco.
Yes.
Woodcock.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
McAleer.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
motion carries unanimously, 15-0.
Take it. Don't everybody get excited. CFO, do those numbers match?
They do.
Income.
You're at 0.
And revenue?
Yes.
Revenue and expenditures?
Yes.
How did that happen?
Recount.
The only thing that was left open was the
Salary?
Eaton agreement.
Mr. Chairman? That's a good segue, if I could. While you were talking, the sheriff called and I stepped out. We actually don't have an Eaton agreement anymore. They've discontinued that. It was Albany that's going to town meeting. And They are going, the selectmen in Albany are going to town meeting proposing $67,200. So, for the agreement that they have with the county. So I'm just letting you know that we may get more income than the 45. Or we may not. It depends on the outcome of all these town meetings.
Motion to have the executive committee make the adjustments for the Albany agreement when that vote comes in.
So moved.
Thank you, Representative Woodcock. Representative Cordelli. CFO, will you be available for that adjustment?
Yes.
Any discussion? This is to authorize the executive committee to reopen the budget to make that small adjustment for the Albany agreement when it comes before the people in March. That way we don't have to come back for a full delegation.
Motion made by Woodcock, seconded by Cordelli. If you're in favor of the motion, signify by saying yes or aye. If you're opposed, nay or no. Cordelli?
Yes.
McConkey is yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
Yes.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Hetnell?
Yes.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Motion carries 15-0.
Thank you. Next. Establishing compensation for elected officials. We typically do this in April or May, but I think we're going to have a full session come April and May. So I'm going to be looking for motions for the commissioners first. We have one commissioner at 12,000 and 12,000 that are current. There is 3 of them that are going to be re-elected, so we can have
Mr. Chairman, question is, one of the commissioners at a lesser rate than the others?
yes, that one's up this year. One carries through.
No,
One carries through 4 years.
they're all up this year.
Right,
And
but
then, but one of these amounts, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
It's okay.
One of, you're right, one carries through 4 years.
Yeah, so that
The
would,
reason one lag's behind is because it was set in 2020.
correct. So is it District
District 2?
2 that will, no, District 2 that we can adjust, District 3 or 1 is the carryover?
I have that, maybe pull it up, unless someone knows off the top of their head.
Mr. Treasurer, you're first, anyways.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There has been some discussion about why the commissioner from District 2 is still at 9,500. And I'm not 100% sure how that came about, but in my humble opinion, the District 2 commissioner should be paid the same as the other 2 commissioners.
Actually, I would have to disagree with you. We set the salary for the term that each of those positions is in for. We can't go ahead and adjust it because a new commissioner is coming in.
So for the past, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Correct.
For
So
the past 3 years, he's been at $9,500 for that commissioner.
correct, because we set it in 2021,
And when would it be set again?
today,
I'm sorry?
today.
Good. Thank you.
But I was going to call on you for your, because you're our first treasurer.
Oh, okay. I think in your packet, there's a brief memo
Yep.
outlining what we had to do initially when we first came on board, and the changes and the difficulties that we worked through. The treasurer's salary is, in my mind, was $8,400, and I'm looking for a $600 increase to a total of $9,000 for the county treasurer. I don't think that's out of line. Given the total budget, I don't think it amounts to much, period. However, it is an increase. And that's what I'm asking for. Thank you.
Motion to approve that is for 25 and 26? Is there a 2-year term?
Yes, 2-year term.
Thank you. Motion to approve $9,000 for the treasurer?
Question?
Sure.
So will there also be a recommendation for the deputy treasurer also? I know you're taking one at a time, but I'd just like to know that. Or are we only voting on the treasurer increase by $600? We don't do it today?
Everybody hang tight for half a second here. Deputy treasurer is in the expenditure budget. It is not an elected position. It is funded through the budget. If you wish to make an adjustment there, we can.
No, I do not, Mr. Chair.
You certainly can. So this is for the elected officials, which will take effect January 10th for the county officials, because that's when they get sworn in. Right, county attorney?
Yes.
Okay. Glad that you're still with us. We have a motion. We have a request from the treasurer, and do we have a motion on the floor for $9,000 for the treasurer for the years of 25 and 26? Okay, seeing none, we're not going to give the treasurer an increase.
I'll make the motion.
I'll make that.
I'll second.
All right, motion by Crawford, seconded by Brown, $9,000. Any further discussion? Mr. Clark.
Under elected officials, treasurer to increase the salary, the payment by $600, taking that to $9,000. Motion by Crawford, seconded by Brown. If you're in favor of the motion, you signify by saying aye or yes, opposed, nay or no. Cordelli?
No.
McConkey, yes. Brown, Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
No.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Petnell?
Yes.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Motion carries 13-2.
Thank you. Commissioners. District 2 needs to be adjusted. Do somebody have a number? Representative Cordelli.
I would move $12,000 for commissioners at District 2.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
McConkey, second.
Thank you. Discussion.
Repeat the motion, please.
$12,000 for District 2.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you okay? Are you waiting?
Representative Cordelli.
Thank you. I would just point out that in addition to this salary, there is also a shared salary coming from Hales Location for their services.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Mr. Clark.
Motion by Cordelli, seconded by McConkey to increase the District 2 Commissioner to a pay of $12,000, or a fee of $12,000. If you're in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye or yes. If you're opposed, nay or no. Cordelli?
Yes.
McConkey is yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
Yes.
Crawford?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Petnell?
Yes.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
And Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Carries 15-0.
Thank you. I would request a motion for District 1 and 3 to remain at $12,000 for their respective terms.
Second, make it, motion made.
Thank you, Representative Woodcock. Do we have a second? Representative Cordelli, any discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
To answer your question, District 1 is the 4-year.
Thank you. So that will be for 4 years. District 3 will be for 2 years.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. There was no energy to reduce them all to 9,500.
I am all out. Mr. Clark.
Thank you. Motion by Woodcock, seconded by Cordelli to leave the Commissioner District 1 at 12,000, a payment of $12,000 a year for the remainder of their terms. If you are in favor of that motion, you signify by saying aye. If you're opposed, nay or no. Cordelli.
Yes.
McConkey is yes. Smith.
Yes.
Belcher.
Yes.
Brown. Yes. Constable.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Pednell.
Yes.
Bucco.
Yes.
Woodcock.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
McAleer.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Motion carries 12-0.
Yes. County Attorney.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Ms. Siemens.
Before we go any further, I think this year we were also under RSA 23-7, establishing compensations. We were going to vote on not only the salaries this year, but also the benefits and other compensation, including fringe benefits, insurance, and so forth.
Correct.
Are we doing those, procedurally, are we going by position? Are we going to do that at the end, or?
By position.
The treasurer is receiving additional compensation beyond the salary, and so are the commissioners. So I don't know if you wanted to do those by position as you go. And also to Representative McConkey's question, RSA 2915, the deputy treasurer shall only be paid, the word only isn't in the RSA, shall be paid $15 a day
Okay.
for their services as treasurer.
Thank you. It's almost as bad as the state now. It's actually better. You looking for a new job?
Okay.
I always send you sideways, so.
The treasurer's expenditures, does that include these things here? 4151? Does that include your expenditures, treasurer?
Looking for that number.
We have a salary number, your salary number, and then we have retirement, dental, Medicare, dues, licenses, subscriptions, cell phone, and travel.
I don't have retirement.
You don't have retirement in that one. Yes, it's all, everything is accounted for in the budget.
Except retirement. I don't have retirement.
What?
I do not have retirement.
No, you would qualify.
No.
Stick with the train.
So if it's in his budget, you've already approved it, it's there for the treasurer. Or is there something I'm missing?
Given some, we've been sorting things out and fixing things, so county just giving it transparency to have it on the record. Could you vote on the compensation package presented for the treasurer or the commissioners, please? Or not, it's your call, but we've done a lot of work to get this as transparent into the letter as we could, so having a separate vote on the package itself, rather than having it in individual budget lines, I think would be better.
I'm not
Chair,
reopening.
I would move the compensation package for the treasurer as presented.
Thank you. Representative Woodcock, do we have a second?
Seconded by McConkey.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Mr. Clark.
Thank you. If you're in favor of the motion, you'll signify by saying aye or yes, and if you're opposed, nay or no. Cordelli.
Yes.
McConkey is yes. Smith.
Yes.
Belcher.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Constable.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Petnell.
Yes.
Bucco.
Yes.
Woodcock.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
McAleer.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
And Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Motion carries 15-0.
Commissioners, same thing. Is all of their benefits and whatnot in the salary line, in the lines for their expenditures?
Yes.
Motion to approve the commissioners as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Representative Woodcock. Do we have a second?
Second.
Representative McAleer, thank you. Any discussion? Call the roll.
If you're in favor of the motion, you will signify by saying aye or yes. If you're opposed, nay or no. Cordelli.
Yes.
McConkey is yes. Smith.
Yes.
Belcher.
He stepped out.
Brown. Yes. Constable.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Petnell.
Yes.
Bucco.
Yes.
Woodcock.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
McAleer.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
And Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
14-0, 1 absent.
Thank you. County Attorney, step on up. What is your request, sir?
Since that letter should be included in everybody's packet, so just looking at some numbers, I included the entire compensation package which the county attorney presently receives as well, so it should be easier to vote on that. So just looking at numbers, present Carroll County attorney's salary is $104,000. That was a 1.9% increase from the previous year, which was $102,000. So looking at information provided from the Society of Human Resources, most places in the United States, the national average for an increase in the year of 2024 is somewhere between 3.9 and 7.4% just for this year alone. So my proposal for the 2025 and 2026 years is a 9% increase in 2025, and followed by a subsequent 4% increase in 2026. The goal in asking for these increases in salary is to keep the position of the Carroll County Attorney economically comparable to other positions in the private sector, additionally in the public sector. Because the delegation knows my predecessor left. Part of the rationale for that was an increase in salary and becoming the city prosecutor for Concord. Certainly the amount of work that is required to be the county attorney, I think the salary that I am proposing for that position is at least marketable for that position.
Number?
One, 112,
Yes.
and then 16480. I'll make a motion.
For year one, it's 112.
Give me that number, Representative McAleer.
Yes, 112 for 24, and
Give me the whole number.
112,000.
112,000,
We're gonna go even?
Yes.
and 116,480, which you would round to 50 for 2026.
So it'll be $112,000 for 25, $116,500 for 26.
Correct.
Motion by McAleer.
Seconded by,
Second.
thank you, Representative Page. Representative Constable.
I'm curious what the total compensation package was, because that would be the base salary, correct?
Correct.
What is like the monthly vehicle allowance, what is all of that?
The monthly vehicle allowance is $400. The clothing
I mean,
allowance.
we have a list of 14 things, but what's the total package?
I don't know, that would take some work.
Is it 5,000? Is it 25,000? That's what, that's how much I know the
Sick bank's eligible, this means eligible, no fee to it.
clothing and things?
No, it's a sick bank.
So the clothing allowance
You
is
said
$500,
14.
but it's taxed, so it comes out to $380 a year.
You have a monthly vehicle allowance of 400 still?
Yes.
Is that in there?
It is.
Your cell phone is reimbursed, or you have a county cell phone?
My cell phone is reimbursed at $43 a month.
Thank you. I'm not going to ask you about your health insurance. Your earned time is policy. Short-term disability is paid by the county. Aflac is paid by you. Delta Vision is paid by you. You have a deferred compensation retirement plan that you participate in, which does it cost the county anything for you to participate in that?
No.
No.
Thank you. Your flexible spend, both your dependent and your FSA is funded by you or the county?
Funded by me.
Okay, so that's no cost to the county. Participation in the retirement system, I'm guessing yes, because you were a previous employee?
Yes.
And your clothing allowance is $500 a year?
$500 is taxed, so it comes out to be about $380.
Perfect, and your monthly vehicle allowance is taxed as well, or you write that off as well?
That is not, that is a reimbursement for the miles of this trip.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Representative Costello?
Yes, thank you.
Very well. Representative McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 9.5%, I can't support that. that's too much of a jump. I don't know what the other supervisors within the county get. But when you're giving people to work in the nursing home 3%, that's just too much for 1 year. I'd be more supportive of a 5% rather than almost a 10%.
Understood. Representative McAleer.
Thank you. I think what he's saying here is that it was only 1.9% previously, so we're really looking to average that out to, maybe 4.5% per year. That's just in case I got the rest.
So, my recommendation is to avoid the situation that happened around 2022, where the salary had to increase almost 20% for a market adjustment, because the salary increases were not keeping up with cost of living adjustments. So in 2022, it was raised from about $86,000 to $102,000, which was a significant increase in the salary. At that point, it was about almost a 20% increase in the salary. And so by taking essentially 9% this year and then 4% the following year, or 9% next year, 4% the following year, that's trying to keep the county on a steady increase so that the job does not fall into the unmarketable category.
Thank you.
Yes, that's it.
Yes, Representative McConkey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Part of your conversation you had with us was that we lost our county attorney to the town of Concord, or the city of Concord. I would fully expect that the Concord would be that big shining star out there, and that they would start out at a higher rate. I am appreciative of the job of this office, but I with Representative McDonald, that I think 9%, if part of that justification is that's what you could get if you go to the biggest city, I think is too much at this time and won't support it. That's my comment, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Representative Woodcock.
Thank you. I think the number 9% as a number makes us all nervous. When you're talking 3%, 2%, 3% across all the sectors. That being said, however, this is the chief executive attorney for the county. And this is barely, I think, meets the standard for that level of legal representation. Considering some of our past experiences with legal costs over the last 4 years, you know how much expensive it can be. So I would suggest this is a reasonable salary for that level of responsibility.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Mr. Clark?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion to adjust the county attorney's pay to $112,000 the first year, and then increasing then to $116,040 the following year. Motion made by McAleer and seconded by, I didn't hear who it was. Does anyone have a second to the motion?
That was me.
Representative Page? And
Page.
McAleer, what was your second number? Representative McAleer, what's your second number?
116500.
500. I will adjust that second year number to $116,500. We're in the voting mode, or you're going to take a question?
Do you have your hand up, Treasurer?
I did, excuse me, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to confirm the number that the representative said initially. He said 0480, and I just wanted to make sure we had that correct. Got it, the 500 number, that's better. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
So if you're in favor of the motion, you signify by saying aye or yes. If you're opposed, nay or no. Cordelli?
No.
McConkey is no. Smith?
No.
Belcher?
No.
Brown?
No.
Constable?
No.
Crawford? McDonald?
No.
Petnell?
No.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
McAleer.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
And Mr. Chairman.
No.
Motion fails. 10 to 5.
Do we have a new motion?
Could we get, excuse me,
Representative,
could we get,
Crawford.
if it was a 5% raise, what that number might be?
5 and 5?
Yes.
CFO or McAleer? Representative McAleer? Whoever has a fastest calculator.
So it would bring 24 number up to, it would bring the 2024 of 104,000 to 25, which would be 109,
409.2.
200.
Thank you. Second year? $109 is which one? 109.2 equals 25. Okay.
114,660.
Yep,
Can I get the whole number?
114,660.
Year 26.
114,660.
11460.
I thought Representative Crawford was bringing one forward.
Well, I was bringing forward, I wanted information before I would make a motion.
Understood. Representative McDonald.
I make a motion to do 3.5% for 2025 and 5% for 2026.
Repeat the motion, please.
My motion is 3.5% for 2025 and 5% for 2026.
Do we have a second?
I'll second for discussion.
Thank you. Discussion. Do we have numbers first?
What was it, 3% for 25 and?
3.5.
It'd be 107,640.
CFO? Do you concur?
I'm working on it.
Thank you.
Hold on.
Right, you just asked for information.
Is 107, 120 for 25?
5% for next year.
Thank you.
And what, was it the same percentage for 26?
5%.
Oh, 5%. $112,476.
Motion's been made and seconded. Numbers have been accumulated. 107, 120 for the first year, 112, 476 for the second year. Any further discussion?
It's just a question, that percentage is what?
There's 3.5% the first year, 5% second year.
Thank you.
Welcome. Any further discussion? Representative McAleer.
I get a different number. I get for the first year 107,640,
Yep, I made a mistake.
and times that times 1.05, 113,022.
107,640, 113.
113,022.
Representative McDonald, does those numbers work for you?
Yes, and if I could just also speak to it.
You can. Those are your two numbers that we finally gotten, and we have confirmations from the CFO. Those are correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Representative McDonald, speak to your motion.
It's my understanding in previous years, even when I was a police officer, the county attorney didn't have to work a set schedule. They didn't have to put in for an annual leave day or any of that other stuff. I guess that's now changed, where they have to have a certain annual leave day to take time off. Is that true, or is that still? Okay.
That's true if you want to enroll in the New Hampshire retirement system, which I am presently enrolled in.
May I do a follow-up?
Sure.
So if you don't enroll in it, you can come in and work 2 days a week, or you can work 5 days a week, or you can do anything you want to do.
No, I don't believe that the statutes and the policies lay that out as being accurate anymore.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question if...
Yeah, 1 second, Representative Page, Representative Belcher.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just checked the CPI data. The inflation index for '23 was officially listed at 3.4%. Looks like it's currently on track for something similar this year, so I would just say I would be far more supportive of these numbers.
Thank you. Representative Page?
So my question is regarding the prior year increase of 1.9%, and was that what other county employees received in 2022?
As a county employee at that time, the rate was 3%.
Yep, there's rates that go through negotiations through the commissioners and unions and non-unions. Yeah, I would say roughly 3% was the increase across the board last year.
Understood. It just seems to me that 1.9, we might have some catch up to do from my perspective.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Representative McDonald's motion?
Motion by McDonald, seconded by McConkey. First year increase 107.64. Second year increase number would be 113,022. If you're in favor of that motion, to signify by saying yes or aye. If you're opposed, nay or no. Cordelli.
Yes.
McConkey, yes. Smith.
Yes.
Belcher.
Yes.
Brown. Yes. Constable.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Petnell.
Yes.
Bucco.
Yes.
Woodcock.
No.
You fooled me. Burrows.
Yes.
McAleer.
Yes.
Page.
No.
Page is no. Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Motion carries 13-2.
Mr. Chair, I just want to be clear that my intent, no, is not for the 3%, but rather I don't think it is sufficient.
Will be noted, Representative Woodcock. Any further motions for the county attorney? Thank you.
Yes. The compensation package.
Yes, the compensation package, yes, thank you. Sit back down.
Don't
Please.
tell that too often.
Doesn't have to be that out.
My apologies. You came from the employee standpoint into an appointed position. Did your prior benefits meet or exceed these?
Met, it was basically a swap.
It's a lateral?
With the exception of now my brain's
Car
The
allowance.
vehicle?
Car allowance, vehicle allowance.
Okay, so vehicle allowance is an upgrade?
Yes,
Everything else is the same?
everything else was the same.
Representative Woodcock?
Yes, sir, I make a motion the compensation package remain as presented.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Representative McAleer Brown? Any discussion? Mr. Park?
Motion by Woodcock, seconded by McAleer, county attorney's compensation to remain the same as present. If you're
Presented on the sheet, presented.
as presented. If you're in favor of that motion, signify by saying yes or yay, aye. If you're opposed, nay or no. Cordelli.
Yes.
McConkey, yes. Smith.
Yes.
Belcher.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Constable.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Petnell.
Yes.
Bucco.
Yes.
Woodcock.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
McAleer.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Page is a yes.
Galea said yes.
Okay, thank you. And the chairman?
Yes, did we get everybody?
What's that?
We still have 15?
Did we lose? No.
You're losing me though, so.
Okay, maybe it's close behind you.
That's more than 15-0 passes unanimously.
Thank you. 1, 2, 3, Register of Deeds. Is the registrar still here? Yes. Thank you, Registrar, for being here for so long.
My pleasure.
And thank you to the County Attorney as well.
So in your packet,
Yep.
I also sent you a letter. And I must say that I will be talking about this position as the position for the Office of Register of Deeds, not for me.
Correct, that's how we do it.
Okay. I've looked over the department head salaries in Carroll County, and I've spoken with the HR director. And it appears that the appointed department heads are brought up to par with the standard of the economy locally, and that's been due to a lot of efforts lately. But the elected officials, their salaries all appear very low. If you look at the top 10 department heads in the county, and these are sub-department heads and department heads, the Register of Deeds salary is less than those first top 10. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about what I do every day, and we'll be doing it for the next 10 months, just so that you'll understand that we really need to attract a qualified leader. And I think the salary needs to be compatible, for the cost of living in Carroll County is just extraordinary these days. The position, I think you'll all agree, is a very valuable position for the county. It's the only office that actually earns a good amount of money for the budget. So the candidate needs to have many different kinds of skills. It has to be a person that is able to communicate well with the public, with the Board of Commissioners, and with you, who determine what our budget is. They need to be able to manage staff. You have to be very tech savvy and have a vision for the future and how the land records fit into that vision for the future. They have to be an accountant, because we didn't have Bonnie before, and even Bonnie doesn't do our accounting. She just checks it over and makes sure that we're not doing anything wrong, that we balance. Has to be a bit of an archivist. Has to be able to understand, read, interpret, and act on the RSA. That means that the register gets called forth to say, I'm sorry, I can't record that deed you just brought in, because it's not signed in wet ink or it's not acknowledged. They have to understand the value to the community of what the land records mean and how to protect that, which is most people's biggest asset. And they have to show up. They have to show up to work. If the register weren't working every day of the week, there would need to be more employees. And they're on call 24/7. The sheriff can drive to my house any day, or if I'm not around, he can't find me, my deputies, to put an attachment on anybody. It's in the law. We're required to be available. So it's a big job. And I think that the elected officials' salaries in Carroll County aren't commensurate with the salaries of the appointed officials. And I don't understand why that is, because we all do, as Attorney Blair suggested, we all work as if it were a regular 9-to-5 full-time job. And the old theory that you didn't have to come in doesn't hold water anymore. So we elect and appoint people to fill these jobs, and I believe that the salary should be in direct level of expertise to the county. It should be indicative of what we expect of people who want to run for the office. So I hope that you will consider the salary that I've asked for in the letter. Right now, it's $75,000. I was in the register salary was in a similar position to the county attorney's office before market adjustments were made a few years back. That was 2 years ago. And the register salary went from 62 up to 72 and is now 75. And that was a very good move. And now we need to keep it up with where it should be so we don't fall behind again. So I'm suggesting the 87.5, which if you look at the appointed salaries in Carroll County, it's right down there. The bottom of the list of the appointed salaries of department heads and sub-department heads.
Thank you. Representative Conklin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Registrar. And I had to step aside here for a moment. Could you tell me what that percentage increase, did you look at what percentage that would be?
I didn't.
I did.
17%.
17%?
16.
16%?
16%? Thank you, Madam.
How is your current salary commensurate with other register of deeds in the state?
Well, I have information about what they are currently. They range in the state from Comeau County, which is the lowest at 50,000, up to let's see here, 85,613. What Rockingham County did recently, as you probably all remember, they went to a 4-year term for registers and elected officials to try and make up for the lack of dependability on a 2-year term. I'm not suggesting that. I think a 2-year term keeps elected officials on their toes. I think it's a good idea to keep the term short, so if somebody doesn't perform, we could get somebody in there that will perform. So they range from the low in COAS up to the 85,613, which I'm sure will be readjusted this year.
And how is that in terms of volume? Do we do more volume than?
Oh, we do a lot more than Coas County. We do a lot less than Rockingham County. The highest is Hillsborough County. We're equal with Belknap County, and the salary for the Belknap register is higher than mine.
Which is?
In Carroll. It is, if you look at Belknap, and we do more volume than Belknap. Currently it's 75,257, so it's very similar.
Who wants to start it off? Representative Cordelli?
Are you looking for a motion?
I am looking for a number and a motion.
Okay. I am looking at an increase for 2025 to $80,000, and in 2026, $85,000. And I believe that would be a 6.67% increase for 25 and a 6.25% increase for 2026.
Excuse me, I didn't hear what the percentage was on the second one.
The second year, I believe it's a 6.25% increase.
Motion by Cordelli.
Motion by Cordelli for 80,000 the first year, 80, what was the second one?
85.
85,000 the second year. Motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
I'll give it to
Representative
David.
Page. Thank you. Discussion. Representative McConkey.
I'm just looking back, and I, over the years, have always been supportive of the registrar and the wonderful staff. And I believe we just heard from the county attorney, and the county attorney, I believe our motion was a lesser number to raise that by. as opposed to 6.67 and 6.25. So I will vote no on this motion. But I would be willing to take up a second motion.
Representative Belcher?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just did a quick bit of research online as well, just to see where we're at in terms of things. It looks like New Hampshire is up there with California as far as paying registers of deeds, about the highest in the country. As far as, it appears we're at a comparable place within our state right now in the position that we're looking at. There was a significant increase a couple years ago. From where I'm at here, I can't see justifying much more in excess of the cost of living increase that's on par with CPI for this bill right now.
Thank you. Representative Woodcock?
No, I didn't have a question.
I saw that hand.
You did.
All right. Was it Tom?
It's a mirage.
Representative Cordelli?
Yeah, I would just say, looking back, 2022, the registrar was paid $61,000. And looking at the revenue that is generated from that office for the county, I made the motion for the increase for 2023, a significant increase. I think that we possibly will be looking for a new registrar next year. Hopefully that's not the case, but I think that in line with other departments and the revenue brought in from this department, I'm willing to go at these percentage increases myself.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Mr. Clark?
Motion made by Cordelli, seconded by Page, to adjust the salary to the compensation to $80,000 the first year and $85,000 the second year. If you're in favor of that motion, you'll signify by saying yes. If you're opposed, no. With that, Cordelli?
Yes.
McConkey is a no. Smith?
No.
Belcher?
No.
Brown?
No.
Constable?
No.
Crawford is absent or excused. McDonald?
No.
Cudnell?
No.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
No.
Page?
Yes.
And Mr. Chairman?
No.
So we are now sitting with 14 members. Those voting yes, 5 is 5, and 9 noes. Motion fails.
Representative Constable?
Mr. Chairman, I apologize for interrupting. I just need to excuse myself.
Well, thank you for sticking with us this long, Representative Page, and thank you for your work on the Lands Committee. It's not gone unappreciated.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Constable,
I'd like to make a motion.
please.
To a compensation increase, first year 3.5% and the second year 5%. So I'd like to speak to that.
Please, CFO, do we have numbers for that?
You will in a minute.
Or Representative McAleer, if you're quicker?
I can do it in my head, but I won't.
No, I wouldn't. That was done to us.
I don't want to show off.
I can't do it, so we'll be happy.
So year one at 3.5%, please check my numbers, 77,625.
Yes, check.
And then 5% for 26 is 81,506.25.
81.5,
81,506.25.
81.5,
Oh,
good.
sure.
Thank you. Moved by Representative Constable, seconded by
Belcher?
Belcher. Discussion. Mr. Clark.
If you're in favor of the motion to increase the registrar's fee the first year to $77,625, The second year of that term, 81,050. 500. You would signify by saying yes. If you're opposed, no. Cordelli.
No.
McConkey is yes. Smith.
Yes.
Belcher.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Constable.
Yes.
McDonald. Yes. Petnell.
Yes.
Bucco.
Yes.
Woodcock.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
McAleer.
No.
Thank you. And Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Chairman votes yes. We're at 14, 12 yes, 2 opposed, motion carries.
Representative Woodcock.
Sir,
Compensation.
I move the compensation package as presented.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Representative Belcher.
Belcher?
Yep. Any discussion? Mr. Clark?
Motion by Woodcock, seconded by Belcher, to keep the compensation package for the registrar as outlined. If you're in favor of that motion, you signify by saying yes. If you're opposed, no. Cordelli.
Yes.
McConkey is yes. Smith.
Yes.
Belcher.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Constable.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Petnell.
Yes.
Bucco.
Yes.
Woodcock.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
McAleer.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
motion carries unanimous, 14-0. 12.
Thank you, Registrar.
Thank you all.
And I want to thank you for the work that you've done for your office through the years. It has been refreshing to bring it into the 21st century. And thank you for taking care of our records and putting our trust in you with that bond to make sure it's done correctly. So thank you.
all. It's been a pleasure serving.
Well, hopefully you will rethink about serving again.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'll say last but not least, the sheriff's compensation. He has sent along a letter. He has always been coming forward with very good budgets, doesn't really ask for a lot from the county. And I see that we have established a pattern here, so let's stick with that before we go round and round. Representative McDonald?
I make a motion to increase the sheriff's salary by 3.5% on 2025 and 5% on 2026.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Representative McConkey. We'll wait for those numbers.
87,975 for 25, and 92,370, 375 for 26.
87975 first year, 92375 second year. Motion by McDonald, seconded by McConkey. Any further discussion?
If you're in favor of the motion by McDonald, seconded by McConkey, signify by saying yes. If you're opposed, no. Cordelli.
Yes.
McConkey is yes. Smith.
Yes.
Belcher.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Constable.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Petnell.
Yes.
Bucco.
Yes.
Woodcock.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
McAleer.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
motion carries unanimous.
Representative Woodcock.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion the compensation be consistent as presented.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Representative Pettit, we haven't got to you today. Motion and a second for a benefit package. Any further discussion? Mr. Clark.
If you're in favor of the motion, the sheriff's compensation as noted, signify by with yes. If you're opposed, no. Cordelli.
Yes.
McConkey is yes. Smith.
Yes.
Belcher.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Constable.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Petnell.
Yes.
Bucco.
Yes.
Woodcock.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
McAleer.
Yes.
And Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
13-0. Pass unanimous.
Thank you. done, everyone. Thank you. We're not done yet, though, but approval of meeting minutes for January 12th, 2024. Any omissions or changes? Motion to approve.
So moved.
Representative Woodcock, seconded by McConkey. Mr. Clark?
Meetings date as described by the chairman. If you're in favor of the motion, signify with yes. If you're opposed, no. Cordelli?
Yes.
McConkey is yes. Smith?
Yes.
Belcher?
Abstain.
Brown?
Yes.
Constable?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Petnell?
Yes.
Bucco?
Yes.
Woodcock?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
McAleer?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I could, was there someone abstaining from the vote?
Yes, I
Belcher
wasn't.
abstained. So it passes 12-0, one abstain.
Thank you. We have public comment on this agenda. Any further public comment?
Yes, but Daniel, for two quick things. You moved that conservation district now into the budget. Does that mean she's an employee of the county now and is eligible for benefits and all?
No.
No. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And also, I know the chair was on the Zoom for the delegation meeting where Siemens talked about the renovating this complex here, this annex here. The estimate came in at $8,783,057.88, which I think is absorbent, and I hope the delegation will watch that meeting and listen to what Siemens came in, because you will be discussing that in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other business?
Thank you. David Sear, County Shop. Quick clarification on the, you passed a 0% budget, which is, fantastic, because, I live in the county too. But would that be reflected in the tax bill for June or December? You know what I mean? Like when the towns get billed, when the towns bill out the tax bills, would this budget be reflected in the June or December tax bill?
So are you asking me how towns budget out their
No, but
taxes?
you just passed a budget. That budget is part of the tax bill that towns will bill out for. I was just wondering if it was the June or the December tax bill.
As far as I know, I think it's the December one they get taxed on.
It would have to be, if your town is a fiscal year end, it would have to be December. Yeah.
December, okay, thank you.
But that might be for all towns, so you're gonna have to do your homework on that one.
Okay. And
Anything
then
else?
Bear Camp, they're getting the 10,000. So,
Yes.
all right, that's it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Bobby Bevan-Wilforo. I just had a couple questions. It's hard to hear in here, so maybe I may have heard something incorrectly. When we were talking about moving the 10,000 in the nursing over within the nursing budget, we moved some line items. One of them we moved from one section, the 10,000. There was already $2,500 on that line item, and you chose to move the 10,000 from the nursing over. Should it have been 7,500 because you already had 2,500 on a similar line item?
I think you misheard what we did. It was
Okay.
10,000 moved from the nursing department,
Yes.
education,
Yes.
to a new line,
Yes.
a new line for
We
10,000.
already had education, 2,500 in there. Were you moving that 2,500 that was already on that line item within that account? Or
We created a new account.
So the 2,500 is staying on that line item in that account?
If it's under admin budget, can you give me,
Yeah.
yes, we did not change that.
When you were talking about nursing, let's see, where's nursing?
Nursing is 4413, page 10.
Yes, the 2,500 is still staying.
Yeah, so you moved from the 017 account, and yet the administration, their 017 account already had 2,500 in it. So I just want to clarify that that shouldn't have been 7,500 not. You're keeping that 2,500.
Correct, we created a whole new line
Yeah.
for something different, had
Okay.
nothing to do with education and the admin.
Okay,
Yes.
you just took from another department's education.
Correct.
Understandable. Then the 75,000 that was added, does that mean that you will be reducing the salary for the employee that is currently doing the hay and currently doing the farm?
No, it's nothing to do with that.
So you just added 75,000 more for increasing that position, or could you just explain that a little further?
It's just something else for the land committee.
Okay, but you had talked about bringing in maybe other people handling the hay fields and other things. We have an employee already doing that. So will there be a reduction in that salary?
No.
Okay. Then just a couple things. For some of you here, I would like to thank you very much for representing the voters this past week to keep costs down on our tax bills for EFAs and other things. I'd particularly like to thank you for listening to the local voters. We do have one representative who last Thursday, we all know, made a kerfuffle at the State House. 72.2% of the voters of that representative asked to not have book bans and made it clear we believe in our First Amendment rights. This is, I can address. This is public comment. I am open to cite and say anything I would like. This is public comment. So I would just like to thank those of you who represented the constituents and upheld our constitutional First Amendment rights. And to those of you who do not believe in our First Amendment, I really think you should look at your constituents, because 72.2% of us in the district sent a clear message last year that we are not banning books, that we are upholding our First Amendment rights. I'd just like to say that. I will also say that I appreciate the safe haven box. Every once in a while we have to agree on something, so I do appreciate that. And I think that's where I'm going to leave it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a comment? I wasn't going to say anything, but...
Just identify yourself.
Dallas Emery.
Thank you.
I got to applaud Mr. Cordelli for what he said. It just showed the absolute hypocrisy of everybody sitting up there that walked out of the room. They should have been booted from their seat, as far as I'm concerned, because that was a dereliction of their duty to sit there and listen. If they can have that read to an 8-year-old kid in a classroom, or a kid can read it, there's something wrong with an adult that can't sit in a room and listen to it. So I applaud him for that. As far as everything else, I'm not sure about spending all of our money. I listened to this today, and it was very disappointing, to say the least. And I don't want to go too far, but I couldn't let that comment go.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any further public comments? Seeing none, any other business to come before the delegation? Representative McConkey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to take a bit of a liberty and thank the chairman for this undying effort to keep us together and pull this. And I appreciate all the work and effort you put into it, having sat in that chair. I wish I would have had that depth of knowledge as you do in the process, and I thank you.
Thank you, Representative.
I'll second that.
I'll second.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, everyone, for your indulgence and your patience today and allowing the executive committee to go through the budget. I think that should be something we look at going forward to continue with the next delegation. Seeing no further business, we will be in recess to the call of the chair. The executive committee, don't go anywhere. We have a few transfers. My best one.
Next one.
So it's the 27th thing that he's in there?
Yeah, you guys need to sign. Yeah, I don't know what time they were planning to come, or if they're